Night Owls.
Turn on Night Owls.
3 men opened fire at a concert in South Florida. And in sport, Japan's Naomi Osaka has been threatened with expulsion from the French Open tennis for refusing to attend a post-match press conference. The world number 2 said before the tournament she wouldn't speak to media because of the impact on her mental health. From Sky News, I'm Fraser Knight.
Greatest Hits Radio.
And now, the forerunner to Facebook, where your words tell 1,000 Instagrams. Use your phone for making that call. And get talking across the northeast, please. Because this is Night Owls with Alan Robson.
Hi everybody, welcome to a glorious bank holiday Sunday night. Thanks for being with me. Hope you've had a nice time over the last couple of days. Bit of sunshine, bit of freedom. Feeling good. Tonight, heart-stopping moments. That's your challenge this evening. Moments where that split second. I asked Hollywood McShane, producer to the Stars, and he said his heart-stopping moment was when he got to the bar, he ordered a pint, and when the pint came, it was £5.60 for a pint. That's a heart-stopping moment for him. As for me, I had a heart-stopping moment today. Tomorrow I've got something that I've got to do that's kind of important. And I thought, today I'll get some money out, put my card in the machine and the card got swallowed. Heart-stopping moments. Now what do? I don't know. So, worries, fears, blind terror. Tell me your heart-stopping moments. Everybody's had one. Usually about 2 or 3 times a day, in my guess. Tell me yours. Kelly Ridley said, my heart stopper was my cooker set alight. What? Oof. Hope you're all right. Sometimes it's when dogs attack.
Actually, we'd been for a takeaway in McDonald's, and my son was eating his in the kitchen, then all of a sudden we heard a scream. We went, and here the dog had just jumped up to get the McDonald's. Ian, pulled it away from and it just bit a big chunk out of his face.
Oh.
I was just hysterical.
Shit.
Your husband ran him up the hospital.
Whoa. See how simple it is? Split seconds. It's all split seconds, isn't it? Now, what happens if you're terrified of going to the dentist, but you've got immense dental pain?
I said, what are you doing with the axe up here? He said, that's how I got my tooth out. He said,
what?
He said, I tied some twine to my tooth, and I hid the axe.
Whoa!
And I said, you stupid man, if that had come back, it would have taken your leg off. He said, no, it wouldn't, because I hid it out the window.
Well, I bet it works. Be a big gap in his tooth there. I mean, because they used to do it with slamming doors and stuff, didn't they, back in the day?
Well, he tried that, but the carpet was too thick and it didn't work.
Alan Moore says his heart-stopping moment, or heat-stopping, he says, the moment the engine management light comes on and you're still 40 minutes away from home. I've had exactly the same. And you're looking, wondering if there's another light going to come on and the car's going to go... Go on, tell me all of the things that you were terrified of. Now, we have to mention spiders because we know what you like. But what about getting bitten by one? Why did your dangerous tarantula take a chunk out of you? Everybody tells me. I've had a tarantula on my arm, and I don't like spiders, but I've had one on there just to kind of test the courage and
They're
stuff.
wonderful creatures, and I promote them. They're my boys.
He took his anger out on you.
On me, and bit me. I don't blame him. His name's Shocky, and he's my pride and joy.
Does he love you now?
He loves me now. He's a bit of an oddball, but he's part of the family.
How do you play with one, though?
Just, you relax, you breathe,
Right.
and let him do, Shocky, what he wants to do. If he wants to crawl up your arm, he loves being on top of my head. He loves my hair, and he sits on top of my hair. Now that he's recovered, hopefully, from, what he went through. And
do you never just, the postman arrives, he's got a parcel for you, you forget that Shocky's on the top of your head.
Oh, Shocky.
The postman would wet himself. So, moments of absolute terror. We all get them. I want to know yours. Give Chris a call right now, 01914 488 3188. Isabel's been on. She says, my heart-stopping moment was when I looked in the mirror and realised I was over 60. Age is merely a number, Isabel. Get used to the facts. This is the difference. There's some people, and you probably know somebody who's 35, they dress like they're 55, and they act like they're 75. Grow old disgracefully. It's the only way to do it. Now, hang on, here's a geet long one from Diane. My heart stopper was when I got lost in Thornaby and I got pulled by the police asking if I was a working girl. And I said, no, I'm on job seekers allowance. They thought I was being funny, but I wasn't. I didn't know what they meant. I nearly got locked up, was mortified, never been in trouble in my life, Alan. Obviously, you were in the wrong part of Thornaby, I'm guessing. But you see, all things physical, they're heart-stopping moments. First time a woman, made signs that she would actually, and I'd never, that was a heart-stopping moment. That one actually proved to be a trouser-stopping moment as well, but dating somebody that has specialist skills, like bondage.
We went out for a night and we goes back to her house for a bit of passion, as I would say.
Hurrah.
And it goes into the bedroom and it goes, do you know what it is? You would think you worked in a sex shop because the bedroom is like full of all the stuff. And she goes, I'm the man dressed up for the Ann Summer shop. I goes, I said, so does that mean that you can bring the stuff home and town? She says, well, you could have tried everything in the shop.
Whoa.
And it was just like a kid walking out of a sweet shop with a gun.
Were you not terrified by the fact that she had something vibrating in either hand?
No. I tell you what, Alan, I was like open, and I like to say I'm a Scorpio, so I'm like hot and passionate.
Excellent.
So I was like, I'd love to try everything.
Hey.
But one at a time.
Wow, what a long night that must have been. There you go. Wasn't heart-stopping for him, bless him. Ron Robson. My heart-stopping moment was when I was a kid and my sister sneezed on my plate of beans and my dad said he wasn't taking us to the park if I didn't eat those beans. He didn't know about me sister's antics, like. Would imagine it would be the beans are a bit thicker than normal. Vicky Tinion, I cleaned my partner's new benchtop oven with oven cleaner like you do. Turned it back on and it literally exploded. I totally pooed myself. Bet you did. Alex, there's hundreds coming in. Ring up and tell me some on air as well. Alex, my heart-stopping moment when I was watching your live ghost hunt. Good. Lynn Fognog, there's my heart-stopping moment right there. The thought of a spider crawling in my hair. When I was little, my mum used to always say to me, be careful if you lie on the grass in the garden. And I know some of you will have been doing that this past couple of days. She said, because if you lie on grass, earwigs climb into your ear. And the thing that made that worse was, about 5 minutes after that, I picked a flower up, and inside the petals, it was like a little tulipy kind of thing. Inside the petals was an earwig, and you think, oh, could have been my ear, that. Never forgotten it. It's never happened. Not to me, anyway. But I've never forgotten it. What kind of things were you warned about when you were kids as well? Let's have some of them. Other things to talk about. All National Health Service workers are going to be told to get vaccinated or possibly lose their jobs. There's a thank you for all the extra work they've done. What's your view on that? Are you NHS? Because you would think, oh, well, everybody in the NHS would want to be vaccinated. But that's not true. It's about 33% on average don't in the NHS. Now, Boris found a sneaky way to get married in the Catholic Church. Are you divorced? Did you try and get married in a Catholic church, and did they tell you where to go? He's Prime Minister, so he probably had the power to twist God's arm. Also, straightforward question, and I'm not just saying this because of Tony and Chris next door. Why are people dressing so tatty now? You know, we've got into the habit of just walking around and spending whole days in our comfies. And then you say, I'll just nip to the shop, and you leave your comfies on. And I've seen people in shops with slippers. I've seen them with those bright speckly pants that you buy from various shops. Make you look like you're a wrestler or what have you. Is it not time we should smarten up just a tad? What do you think? As I say, we've just been comfying out for too long. Also, because of Boris's wedding, I also want you to ring in daft things that happen at weddings. I've been at a wedding where the mother of the bride tried to steal the day for herself. I've been there at weddings, because I used to host a lot of weddings and jock them early in my career. DJ them, rather. And I've seen fights where the best man beats up the actual groom on his wedding day. Something daft or something crazy, weird, usually happens at weddings. Tell me your crazy, daft, weird wedding stories as well, please. 01914883188. Here in the newspapers about travellers making a return, just pulling up and piling onto people's land, refusing to move. Ever had any bother? Windmills. You know these windmills? They're everywhere now. They're off the coast, spoiling views, in my opinion. They're on hillsides, spoiling views. They're nasty, ugly things. They're not pretty. Do they really generate enough electricity to save the planet? Because they need electricity to get them to turn around in the first place. They're not like them little kids' windmills that just, with a bit of wind, maybe they should be. I just think they're as ugly as pylons. I think it's a shame. I'd like your view. Maybe you think they're gorgeous looking things. I don't know, but I'd like your opinions, please. And are we there yet with COVID? And if we're not, blimey, it feels like we should be, doesn't it? Everybody's starting to stretch out a bit. Has anybody been on holiday yet? How was it? What's the worst parcel you've ever got? Mine held a gadget called a Total Crunch that is tearing me apart every morning. Oh dear. And a woman saved her pet dog from another dog by thrusting her finger up its bottom. It was the only way she could get the dog to let go. Oh. I would have to love a dog an awful lot to do that to another dog. However, you ever had to disentangle your dog from a fight? Pick up your telephone, give us a call right now as we play a particular piece of music dedicated to us. We are lucky enough to say thanks to Jerry Rafferty. where we are. Have you guessed it yet? This is Auckland Castle. How wonderful a place it is. But before we start, let's introduce you to the team. For, I promised you a grisly story, and it is a nasty tale. We've already, for our supporters, been to see a superstar's house, Stan Laurel, which is haunted here in Bishop Auckland. Auckland Castle behind me. We were due to go in, but as you can see, they've got a bit of work on at the present moment. However, the team is solid. We have two very haunted places that we're going to be taking you to, and we'll cross the city with a hell of a story. Let's bring in Kenny. Kenny is with us again this week.
Yay, looking forward to it.
This is completely different to last week. I mean,
So different.
It's night and day.
Yeah, I mean, we're outside, first of all, for starters, a massive castle, and then we're doing the streets of, Bishop Auckland, so it's totally different to last week.
But we had one of the supporters say, why don't you come to Bishop Auckland? We've got all kinds of things. We're going to walk it. We're going to let you walk it. I'll just tell you what you can see. I'll be your guide along the way till we get to a shop that's had all kinds of haunted things happen to it. It's an amazing little shop. It's called Labyrinth. So expect maybe a David Bowie tune. And the nearest thing to the Muppets that he had, well, if you just like to hold the camera, we also have Hollywood McShane with us as well. So this is the wobbliest
The
bit
wobbly
of the
bit.
show. So Tony, tonight is just downright odd in comparison.
It's odd because if you see how light it is, we've never done one this light before.
Well, it doesn't matter. You can see stuff and orbs and what have you. They're still here. They're still around us all the time. I
Great
believe.
stories, though.
And the guy we're going to meet at around 10 o'clock when we cross to the most haunted part has got 1,000 stories.
Yeah, he's got lots, so we need to hear them. I haven't heard them all yet. There wasn't time.
No, there wasn't, but we're going to do that a little bit later on. But let's get started. Hand over, and we're heading in that direction. First of all, let me tell you a little bit about Bishop Auckland. Do you know how it got its name?
No.
Bishop Auckland was called Auckland.
Oh, right. Yeah.
And the king gave Auckland to the Earl of Northumberland. Because if you think about it, even these small cottages that we have around here, because this is marketplace.
Yeah.
And how many people in Bishop Auckland know that right here, and I mean here, not there, because a lot of people think that's the marketplace. This was the original marketplace because it was in front of the castle. And this is where they fought bulls. They would set dogs on them. Have you heard bull mastiff?
Yeah.
It's called a bull mastiff because they used to put these great big dogs to fight bulls in the market square right here. The other thing they used to do here is they would do essentially bear baiting at a time when they had bears. Can I just also point you at that? I'm sorry, but the last time I came here, people said it's the staircase. It symbolizes, what's on the. It symbolizes the stairs that used to lead up to the castle. To me, it's scrap metal. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I can't do any better than that. It's just. And with the buildings that they've got here, your 2 seconds. You've got buildings that are 500, 600, and 700 years old right here. Oh, and I didn't tell you. Incidentally, if you're hunting for ghosts, and you see there's a glimmer of sunshine on the corner room, right at the top. It always, day and night apparently, it always looks like it's lit up in the corner. If you see the cottage, it's the first upstairs window to the left of that. It looks like there's lights on now, doesn't it? It looks like there's, I don't know whether you can see it on the camera, but it does look like there's lights on. There isn't. And it always looks lit because that's where it said that the ruler of the castle back in the day lost his son fighting the Scots. But every day his son was away, he used to go up to that window and look out to see if he could find his son. So I mentioned that the king gave all of Auckland to Northumberland because he fought the Scots. And it was like a buffer, stop the Scots getting down to the south where all the wealth was.
the voice of the North.
Alan Robson's Night Owls, the phone-in that gets you talking.
Greatest Hits Radio.
And it seems that we've been given a whole pile of bookmarks. If you would like a bookmark, like a Night Owlsy bookmark, or an Alan Robson bookmark, as they actually are, if you'd like them, they are available now. Anybody that rings in can have them. We'll just stick them in an envelope and bang them through to you. If you want them, come and get them. Simple as. They're waiting for you right now on 0191 488 3188. Bookmarks for anybody that does want them, who chooses to call in. So feel free to do precisely that. We got 4 clues for you tonight for another hit link. I think this is actually tough. I think this is tough tonight, but we'll see just how bright you are a little bit later on. Heart-stopping moments. Easter's had one. He says, down on the rocks. He's been on the rocks a while. He says, down on the rocks at Whitley Bay, the car park at the end of the Beehive Road, Georgia, my middle daughter, was about 4, and she went a little ahead of us when a wave came crashing over. And in that split second, I had visions of her being swept over into the sea. Looking back, absolutely heart-stopping. No, for sure. For sure. Mummies and daddies are going to be very super careful where babas are concerned. Right, let's head across to Carlisle, where we find Kelly. Hello, Kelly.
Hello.
Hello. Good to talk to you. So, heart-stopping moments. Do tell me what got yours beating.
Well, one was I was sitting in a flat and I was making my tea and I started hearing like popping noises.
Right.
And I was like, what's that? And I went in the kitchen and my oven started blurting out little flames.
Right. What did you do then?
I switched the cooker off the wall.
Right. I mean, was it electric or a gas one?
It's electric.
Electric, right, okay. So you
and I opened
right.
my extra door.
Right.
And rang 999 straight away.
Did you stay in the house or did you get the hell out of there?
I had to go and stand at the front door.
Right, and because the weird thing is, you know, and this is something that I did when I had a fire. What the fire brigade said to me is, as soon as you open the door, you're spreading it. You know, like the oven door. And when you open your outside door, you're providing oxygen to make the fire get even bigger. But you're alive. So you did enough to look after yourself. What was it then that started? What was popping?
It was something to do under the grate, the oven, sorry.
Right.
They weren't sure, so at the minute I'm having microwave meals.
This was recent, was it?
Yeah, about a week ago.
Oh, blame me. You weren't burnt or anything, were you?
No, I was just standing outside in the rain.
Right. A small price to pay when your house is burnt down, I suppose. But was the kitchen saved? Did the fire brigade do the good thing or what?
Yeah, everything that I did
was the right thing.
Yeah.
Great. And that's good. So you just need a new cooker and presumably maybe it's a paint job. Is that the deal?
Well, no, not really paint. It was just the oven, so right. I just need a new cooker.
Right. But in the meantime, everything dings in your house.
Yeah, well, I've got a microwave, so I'm having microwave meals at the minute.
When you talk to any man about microwave, we know them so well, because when we're not with a partner, then it's ding all the way, baby. That's how it works. But hey, congratulations, though. You did the right thing, and probably you could well have saved the house there. So well done.
Yeah, because I live in a flat.
Oh, blimey, you could have had the lot there. The thing with cooking as well is, and this is a man thing. When I had my fire, it was because I put a chip pan on and then walked away and left it. You got to watch what you cook, and you were smart enough to be near enough to save the building. So well done.
Burgers that was in under the oven.
Fish burgers.
Beef burgers.
Beef burgers.
Yeah.
Oh, beef burgers. Oh, yeah. Well, you see, they spit, don't they? They spit at the grip.
That's what I heard, and then I started hearing like popping noises, and I thought, well, I'll have a look. And there was like flames popping out from under the oven. Oh, jeez.
Are you a good cook?
Me, no. I'm either microwave food or takeaways for now.
Right. Well, I tell you, I can't blame you. And you do it simply out of survival. I have takeaways so that I don't die in a blaze. It's a good enough reason. Hey, good talking to you. Thank you very much for coming on, lass.
Thank you.
Cheers, bye-bye. Kelly in Carlisle, she's saved everybody. She's a heroine. There you are. We've all done that thing where we've put something under the grill and it's spat a bit at the grill and then you think, oh, hang on, should I be doing this a different way? 0191 488 3188. Darren in Newcastle's heart has almost stopped too. Let's find out why. Hello, Darren.
Hello, Alan. You all right, mate?
Champion, what you got for me?
Well, my horse stopped when Newcastle appointed Steve Bruce.
Right, but hey, you can't complain. 12th in the league isn't the worst place Newcastle have ever been, let's face it.
Yeah, but we had better than that, though. We had Bobby and we had Pardew as well. You know what I mean?
And Kev, for that matter.
But he hasn't had the money, though.
Well, this is the thing, and he's being told he can have between 8 and 10 million for next season. I mean, who are you going to buy for 8 to 10 million?
Me one.
That's pretty much my thoughts too. I mean, everybody that he's talking about is more than that.
Newcastle will be relegated next season if we do look at that Joe Willock. Like, he's been on fire for Newcastle last season. Like,
yeah, but Arsenal have just said they want to keep him, and he's agreed. So that's not going to happen. Newcastle are already looking at other players to fill.
Yeah, and it was sick now as well when we didn't get that takeover took as well by the Saudis as well. So
well, he's still fighting for it, so you never know. It might still happen somewhere. It's just the more we talk about it, the more we think it's not going to happen. One of these days, you'll open your newspaper first thing in the morning and get the shock of your life because he's fighting it. You can't say he's not trying to get the hell out of there.
He's trying to fight it. He's fighting it really good, like though. But this is what I don't get though. You give Steve Bruce 80 million for last season.
Yeah.
Why did he not give Rafa that much money? That's what I don't get. Why? Because Steve Bruce is half Geordie and half Mackham. That's what I say.
What? Just because he worked at Sunderland, you mean?
Aye. That's what I say.
Right.
I don't care what anyone says. If he lived in Newcastle, if he was working, if he was at Wall's End Boys Club, he's a Newcastle fan through and through. He shouldn't went managing Sunderland. I wouldn't have. They keep a shite anyway.
Well, you cannot say that because you've said it. You got to move on. But bottom line is, if somebody offers you a job and you haven't got a job, you take the job and you earn the money. And when you say you won't do it, I bet you would. 0191 488 3188. Sunderland, of course, narrowly missed out the playoffs this season. It was tantalising. Edwin in Gateshead is next too. Hi, Edwin. Oh, hang on. Press the button again. Having trouble with me digits. Hello, Edwin.
Hello there. I'm funny how you went doing a shoot there, isn't it?
So what can we do for you tonight?
It's just the NHS. Like, I'm passionate about the NHS. You know how I think they.
Sure.
Well, thanks for the Ghost Hunt's great.
I'm glad you like
the
it.
Ghost Hunts and that. How are you doing anyway? Are you?
Yes, I'm fine. Fit, well, thank you kindly.
Great.
Thanks for asking.
Okay.
What do you think about the NHS? They've just been told that all NHS workers are going to be asked to be vaccinated, but they're trying to slide something in that forces them to. What's your view on that then?
I have nothing against the cosh on it, really. It's just a shame. It's just something like I keep saying to all us when I'm out in the car, even when I see ambulance drivers driving around, you try and do your best to move out of the way because but people forget when they're assaulting people like this, they've probably gone to somewhere where somebody might die, and they've got to put that in the back of their mind, get the next job, you know, so people forget.
Yeah,
and
sure.
even when they're dealing with people in the hospital, they're human, you know, and they've got to put this behind them, try and move on. I mean, I've never worked for the NHS, but I would imagine it'd be a hard job, really hard job.
Oh, blimey, I would say so.
Mentally and physically, you know, but
well, you
even
just
with the police as well, what they've got to put up with.
On top of that, though, if you think about it, it's a job that involves lives, deaths, human emotions, babies, elderly people. I tell you, we talk about things that stop your heart. I don't know how I really don't know how a lot of these people can go home at night and sleep.
Oh, definitely. Yeah, I agree with that wholeheartedly.
I think it's a tough business.
But even another thing as well I want to talk about was like Keith Palmer when he was killed, and it hasn't really been mentioned that, you know. And, I mean, that George Floyd thing that was somewhere. I've seen it on Facebook where I don't know where it was, so I put somewhere with George Floyd. But I think they should put stuff on about Keith Palmer and Lee Rigby and people like that, you know. And but as far as NHS gone, it's something I'm passionate about. Now, I've never worked for them, but like I say, it's just something I feel really sorry for them. I think we should try. Definitely, I've said the last time they have a benefit concert for them, even for the police as well, because they everything, didn't they? I mean, Olaf lives in Wales End, and the fly past there where she lives in a car, and they're really bombing it. You know, they do their best, and they're just not treat right. It's all wrong, I think, like.
Well, can't argue with much of that. Thank you for coming on, Edwin.
Thanks, Alan.
All the best, man. Bob Wire. Well, he loves the National Health Service, and you have to say that you can't really deny it. We've got Steph, who is in concert. Hi, Steph.
Hi.
Hello, darling. What can we do for you tonight?
I just wanted to talk to you about my new business that I've started running and how I'm helping Cash for Kids.
Right, and where were you and what did you do?
I'm based in Concert.
Right.
And I run Crooked Oak Craft.
All right,
which is a new craft business that
Brilliant.
I've made.
Excellent.
I've been doing craft since 2013, but thanks to all of my listeners and watchers and followers, I was able to make it into a proper business this year.
Oh, that's great. So what exactly are you doing? Tell me about what crafts we're talking about here.
So I make dream catchers, vases, coasters, you name it. I sort of like give it a go type of thing.
Good girl. That's brilliant. This is what happened. You know, out of the whole lockdown thing, there are people like you who were brave enough to think, well, if I'm not going to be able to make a business doing this, what else can I do? And boom, look at what's happened. That's fantastic news. Congratulations. So what's it called if people want to check you out online?
It's called Crooked Oak Craft.
Crooked Oak Crafts. Get Googling, everybody. Have a look. Check this woman out.
Thank you. I've got a Facebook page and a group. But I sell little hugs made out of resin.
Right.
And for each one that I've sold, I've donated 50p of that towards Cash for Kids.
Ah, that's excellent. Great. Thank you very much indeed.
Oh, thanks. We've raised £36.50 so far, but I did my first stall in like a year and a half today.
Right.
And we've sold some more today, so that'll be more money coming your way soon.
Every little bit helps, and it all stays here in the Northeast as well, which is great news. I know. Thank you very much indeed. So where next can people come and see and check out your Crooked Oak Crafts then?
Next I'll be in doing Gateshead Comic Con.
All right. Brilliant.
I'll be there, yeah. I do quite a lot of local fairs around the concert area.
Right.
But just look online on Facebook, and
Absolutely.
I'm always there, yeah. I do orders and everything.
Excellent.
I also run Concert Rocks. I don't know whether people have heard about that. That was something I set up in lockdown, really, me and my Auntie Victoria. And it's free, totally free. We don't make anything out of it. And we hide rocks, painted, decorated rocks around the local area for people to find and just to cheer them up and make them happy, put smiles on people's faces. So I just wanted to mention that in there as well.
When you said Concert Rocks, I'm thinking, I can't remember a rock festival in concert during the lockdown. No, it's the lovely little painted rock, because I've come across them on, in a cane at the top of a hill or something. You go,
yes,
that's cute. It's a lovely thing. It is a truly lovely thing. So, Crooked Oak Crafts, everybody. All the best, and thank you very much again for what you do.
Thank you very much.
Tremendous.
Bye.
Steph there, and Mountain Women, you see. You can't keep Mountain Women down. That's just how it is. Going to take a quick track now with a superstar. The stars come out at night. And from the band New Order, this is Peter Hook. It sounds like a labour of love because it is, but does it get a bit tricky replicating a sound that you had in a different decade? Because it sounds like, well, he created the music in the first place. He should be able to manage it. Different technology now, different sounds now.
It's easier now, I have to
Really?
say, because you've got the sounds from the past, and you have a very modern way and reliable way of recreating them.
Right.
In the old days, they were literally steam-driven, right? Those synthesizers were wind up and had a hamster in a wheel. They were that barbaric. And they were
The reason they call it Bishop Auckland is they gave it to the Earl of Northumberland, and then the King Canute. Have you heard of King Canute? He's the one that told go back. Yeah. King Canute was not English. He was Scandinavian.
Right.
And his name wasn't, we call him Canute, C-A-N-U-T-E. His name was actually King Knut, K-N-U-T. It's just a Norwegian name, but it was a Norwegian king. He gave it to the bishops of Durham because they were the fighting bishops. These were not softies. These were proper fighting people. So he gave it to it. Then it became not Auckland, it was Bishop Auckland. And the marketplace goes right the way around. As I say, this wasn't here then.
No.
But this was the marketplace, this bit, the bit back up here.
And that was the Hairy Lemon.
The Hairy Lemon?
I DJ'd it for about 12 years ago I was there. Brilliant place.
And have you noticed how many people there are on the streets there?
It was rammed then. It was really busy.
I bet.
I used to love it.
The 50s tea rooms. Haunted. Spirits. People have checked that out. A lot of the places. The Weatherspoons is just up here.
It is.
That apparently used to be a Red Lion many, many, many years ago. And that's haunted.
Brilliant. And the first ever winners of the World Cup.
There you go. I remember indeed. I remember Tim Healy playing in the filming thereof.
That's right. Yeah.
Also, you got to remember, Auckland Castle started as a tower for the Romans. It was not a castle; it was just a tower. The Romans had people on this top of this huge peel tower to keep an eye on the locals to make sure that they weren't up to no good. And of course, Auckland Castle just there. And again, when you look back at it, you get just a flavour of
majestic, isn't it?
It is amazing. But in there, they had the 16,000 people, soldiers, marshalled in the middle before they went off to fight the Battle of Neville's Cross, which is in Durham, not so very far away from here. Lord Neville took on King David II of Scotland. And why is it called Neville's Cross?
Because he wasn't very happy?
No, he wasn't very happy. But the Scots took position on a huge hill. And at the top of the hill, there was an Anglo-Saxon cross.
Right.
So when Lord Neville captured the hill, it became Neville's Cross.
Makes sense.
And all the Scots, Neville did what Englishmen were prone to do with the Scots. They had a load of wounded people and they couldn't be bothered to capture them and take them away and feed them. So they just... And the Stanley Jefferson, which is Arthur Stanley Jefferson, Stan Laurel. Right. So the link to what we did earlier with Stan Laurel is great. St. Anne's Church. There's a back alley to St. Anne's Church, which I'll try and show you a little bit later. That's got a bit of a story attached to it. But King Charles I was here. Which way are we going? Straight ahead, are we? Yeah. King Charles I was here twice, making public visits because Auckland Castle was so important and famous and had people there that were loyal to him. And the third time he came back, he was in chains because Cromwell had caught him and were taking him down south to cut his head off. So
it has got a bloody past, hasn't it?
It's got an amazing history.
Badges.
Please share. If you do share this feed, and please do. Chance for you to get a badge. Everybody's got a badge. Everybody wants a badge. Share, and we'll get you a badge. Please send it as far and wide as possible. We need to gather as many supporters as we can, and then we can do more stuff. It's very quiet and bishy. I've always
reading rooms haunted as well.
I have not heard any story, but who knows? The thing is, if you've got a building that's this old, and I know a lot of people just look at, well, I'm going to Sports Direct, look at the building next to it, see how beautiful it is.
Gorgeous, isn't it?
Look at the top of it. Just how ornate the top of that building is.
And we don't look up enough, do we?
You don't spin around and look at this square here across at the fantastic buildings. But there's a little side alley that Mary Ann Cotton is supposed to walk.
Right.
I'll take you there a bit later because we've got Mary's story to tell you tonight. Because you got to remember, everybody, Mary Ann Cotton's real name, Mary Ann Robson. So, yeah, we got her story tonight. All of it.
But Peter Hook there. More stars coming out tonight very, very soon. But here is Gemma from Hebburn. Hello, Gemma.
Good evening, Alan.
Hello, my love. What can we do for you tonight?
Hello. I've just noticed, obviously, on your comment to what makes your heart beat. I work as an emergency care assistant on the emergency ambulances.
Oh, blimey.
And every time I press the 999 mode activated and the blue lights and the sirens go, my heart stops and it beats so fast. And then people part the ways for you.
Right.
And obviously I press the bullhorn and then like a tune that goes, the thank people.
All right, that's
and
nice.
obviously people smiling, everything at you. And that's it. But as soon as you press that 999 mode activated button, your heart races so fast, and then it stops to see obviously what job you obviously get.
Yeah, because I would imagine being a professional, by the time you get to wherever you're going, you're calm and you're ready to face whatever you've got to face when you get there.
110%.
What's the nastiest thing that you've come across when you, without obviously no names, no back trail, but what's the worst thing that you've come across when the ambulance is actually stopped?
I don't think I would like to say, Alan.
Right. Now, that's fair enough. No question. How do you build yourself up for it? Because if you think, for the rest of us, we see you heading off and we hope it's a scratch. We hope it's a chipped bone rather than a break. But sometimes it's a major road accident and there's fatalities. And how do you steel yourself to cope with that kind of thing? Because if there is a fatality, then there's a family involved, and quite often the family's there, either in a car or in the house with the person who's damaged.
You just prepare yourself for the worst, but then obviously do your 110% best.
Right.
As well as with the family, like talk to them, like reassure them, and like that sort of thing. Just be the best you can,
Sure.
no matter what.
Yeah, but again, and I don't know whether this is still the case. I was told that paramedics try and get there before you guys. Is that true? Or
They do, yes. There's a rapid response.
right, so they get there first, so that you kind of know what you're heading into, or do you?
Yeah, you do, but it's never what you prepare yourself for, if you know what I mean.
Right, yeah, there's always a bit more to it.
Yeah, of course, yeah.
It's just, you see, when I mentioned before that with you guys, I don't know how you sleep at night. I know, because I've dealt with people, trying to kill themselves and getting people to them in time, and children running away from abusive parents. And I've dealt with this for years.
Yeah.
And I can't sleep when I get back. My head's full of, well, what happens now? Where are they? Did they get out okay? Will they go back to the abusive? Your head's full of all this other stuff. And each one of us has enough of this stress to deal with of our own. But you guys take on everybody else's stress.
We do, yeah, right. Most of the times we become social workers.
Right.
We become people's comfort blankets, but to try and switch off is so hard. But
what do you do when you get home at night, though? Do you just blurt it out to your partner, or do you sit there just watching telly till 5 a.m. to try and clear your head?
Well, we do like a 12-hour either day shift or night shift, and to try and switch off when you come in is so hard. You can put the television on and catch up on your shows which you've missed from the night before, but it's to get that.
Yeah, but it's tricky.
Easy sort of thing, where you think yourself, well, yeah, I can go to sleep, that's fine, no problem. But it's never easy, Alan, never ever.
No, I can believe it. I can absolutely believe it. And we hear that an awful lot of people are leaving the NHS and how difficult it is to find people to do your jobs, I can't blame people leaving when they're coping with the kind of stresses and strains that you guys do. Are you fully manned at the moment? Are there openings?
Do you know what it is? You can do all the training you like, Alan, right? And I mean, you can do your correction, your things like that.
Yeah.
To become, obviously, up the ranks to a paramedic. What it actually takes is no one prepares you for the scenarios which you deal with in real life, which is in like families and things like that on scenes, and no one actually prepares you for that in real life.
We had the guy on before who was talking about how people get assaulted and what have you, and we do know tragically it even happens in A&E. Wards where people come in and they're either off their head with drink or dope or whatever. We know that it happens to fire brigades. We know it happens to the police. I hope that you don't face any unpleasantry when you...
I've been abused.
What, when trying to help somebody?
Yeah. I've been physically and actually mentally abused by people.
What the hell's that about?
Even though they call for you and ask for your assistance and your help, and I've been booted at, I've been spat at, everything.
Are these people who are not? Are they all doped and drugged up, or are these just ordinary
some of them,
people?
yes, some of them, no.
Why would somebody that needs help? Why would they cause you any grief? You'd have thought they'd be forever grateful to you.
Grateful, of course, but no. Everyone's different. Everyone triggers different and things like that. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, blimey. There's the book when you get a chance to write it.
Oh yeah, exactly. Yeah. Do you want me? Do you want the first copy, Alan?
Yeah, absolutely. I don't know how you guys do it. I truly don't, and I've got the utmost respect for you. So thank you for what you do.
That's my heart-stopping moment, and also my heart-racing moment as well.
Soon as the blues and twos go.
But soon as the blues and twos go, and then it goes 999 mode activated. That's it. You're in. You're in the zone.
I would imagine your heart suddenly a Motorhead drum solo. I would have thought till you get
110%.
till when you go. It's lovely, Gemma. Thank you for calling, and thanks to you and your colleagues. All the best.
Take care, Alan.
Thanks,
Bye-bye.
Bye bye. Hey, why would anybody abuse these kind of people? And I know how difficult it is in a lesser way to these guys, where you've just maybe been able to help a child who's been abused, or you've got them free of it, and you think, and then your head's full of, but what happens if it goes to court? What happens if the court puts her back with the abusive dad? And it's, I don't know how to do 5 or 6 of them a day, and she's talking 12-hour shifts, and every one has its own unique whatever. Amazing. What about you? Have you worked in with the care of people, and how stressful, how crazy did it get for you? 0191 488 3188. We got Sean. He's in Newcastle. Hi, Sean.
Hello, Alan. How are you doing, Yari?
I'm all right, man. Tell me your story.
So, I used to work at the cinema in the gate.
All right.
And, Screen 12's proper haunted because someone's died in it.
Oh, right, really?
They had a heart attack.
How bad was the film?
Must have been very bad.
Oh, blimey. If you think about it, cinemas in general, it's inevitable, because people die everywhere. It's inevitable that it's going to happen. But you never, deep down, you never think that when you're going there. Oh, what a damn shame.
But, to be fair, it's a very old cinema, but it used to be the old Mayfair, didn't it? Someone died in there as well.
It was the old Mayfair, but the upstairs bits, were the old Co-op building? I think it was the.
No,
old,
that's at the side.
That's at the side, is it? Right, beg your pardon. Right, so.
But it was dead haunted, but because out the back, that's where people are so the back on the gallows, but anyone who, I think there's a couple of lads who work at the cinema who actually watch it now, and they're back with the things that we used to see and hear in the cinema.
Well, you're right, because the back of that, it was where there was a friary and the Blackgate gallows. You're quite right.
Yeah, that's it. That's where it was.
Wow.
And it kind of backs onto there.
Yeah. Of course it does. You don't think that, but if you walk up, you just got Stowell Street, and then you've got the wall, haven't you? At the other end. Yeah, wow, there you go.
I just see some mad things honestly on the night time.
But you know, you mentioned that the actual cinema itself was haunted. Did anybody ever see anything, or was it just like the feeling of it?
There was like the feeling, but there was one point sweeping, like I was on the screens and I was cleaning the screen on my own.
Uh-huh.
One's coming up, it was like one of the lads coming up.
Uh-huh.
No, there's no one there.
Wow.
It was a bit mental, like.
Yeah, no, it certainly sounds like it. Okay, anything else while you're on, Sean?
No, just hopefully the two can stay up next season.
It's going to be a business. We're going to have to watch and wait, but fingers crossed. 0191 488 3188. Everybody who's talked about Newcastle so far, and a lot of people have, seem to think, well, as long as San Maximum stays fit. Now, you already, as soon as you say that, you already know he's going to miss a third to a half of the season. Because he's going to get kicked up a height by anybody who's the opposition, because he's one of Newcastle's more dangerous players. Hopefully, Callum Wilson can get a bit of help up front as well, because he needs it. They need a joint pair of strikers, and San Maximum providing balls in the box for them. That's what they need. But can they afford to buy one? A striker. They need a couple of defenders. A lot of people, Fernandes is out of contract, and that's going to be something dealt with, or is he going to walk away? A lot of questions to be asked about Newcastle United, and time will tell. Quick break now, and then we'll get back to you. But give me a ring. Heart-stopping moments. Do you have a job that gives you heart-stopping moments? Give me a call. 0191 488 3188. Pick up your telephone right now.
Along here, but it's quirky shops. You know, quirky shops are a big deal these days, and there's one particularly quirky shop that we're heading towards. The Hippodrome Bingo Hall here apparently has the Grey Lady as well, the Red Lion, a Cromwellian roundhead, and there used to be a workhouse on Newgate Street back from 1853. And the weird thing about that is not just that, hey ho. Recognized along the way, which is a nice thing. So the workhouse has an interesting story, because during the First World War and the Second World War, they sent the wounded to the workhouse to be looked after, wounded soldiers. Right. But they made it soldiers who were likely to die.
Right.
So here we go. This is the place. Oh, we get there eventually. Hello, ladies. I know you're going to set us free. We will see you in about 40, 50 minutes. Look forward to it. I know you're going to be watching, so you'll know when we're wrapping up. And thank you very much again. No, I think we leave the shutter up because we want to make sure we get a signal, but that's lovely. Thank you. Bless you. Okay, well, we'll not take any, I promise. We're trusted. We're trusted people, which is nice. Do you want to open up the case and grab a
big torch?
And this is it. Just the smaller one of the two, which is on the right, far right. That's it. So a lot of this is just on the hoof, as you know. Kenny's getting out one of our torches. Oh, there you go. I knew I would eventually be dazzled in here. And here we are. We might not need it with this one, to be quite honest. So this whole place is colder, but you got to remember we're talking over 500 years of history. Now, the interesting thing that we found about this shop, now think about this. Mary Ann Cotton was renowned for killing her children, her husbands, and others, and I'll tell you the whole story a little bit later on. However, she got her arsenic, which was her weapon of choice, from an apothecary shop in Auckland. Now, when I was talking to the ladies before, they said that this used to be a shop that sold pills. So how cool would it be if this was the store that Mary Ann Cotton bought the arsenic to kill people in? Now, let me give you a quick look around. Ken, if you could just hang here just for the second. I will. See if you get anything, because we haven't got much room in this shop. It's fairly tight. But if
says the spread of the Indian variant's concerning, while hospitals are under pressure because of waiting lists. Now, after a low-key ceremony, MPs and ministers have been congratulating Boris Johnson and his new wife after they got married yesterday. Some Labour politicians have questioned the timing, though, after his former senior advisor attacked the handling of the pandemic. But Tom Bauer, who wrote a biography about Boris Johnson, sceptical about that theory.
I find it remarkable that he could be so cynical to stage a wedding to divert attention from Dominic Cummings' testimony last week, not least because it could only last a day. No, I think it was planned for some time.
The family of a flower seller who was stabbed to death in North London yesterday say he was always laughing. 55-year-old Tony Eastlake had worked on a flower stall in Islington since he was 14. A 39-year-old woman who was 6 months pregnant has died after being hit by a car in Northampton. A man who's 31 has been arrested. And Aaron Ramsey, Wayne Hennessy and Ben Davies are among the first players for Wales' interim Euros squad. Joe Rodon, Chris Mepham and Ethan Ampadu are also on the team. From Sky News, I'm Fraser Knight.
Thank you very much, Fraser. Do not forget, if you want to ring in now, we will send out a couple of Alan Robson bookmarks if they are of any interest to you. If you want them, even if you just want them, pick up your telephone, give us a call. We'd love you to ring in with your heart-stopping moments. However, we have now reached the time for your first clue. Now, Hit Links is the competition that we have for you. What we mean by that is I'm going to give you 4 clues. The 4 answers all have something in common. You've got to tell me what that something is. First clue. The Archies took 2. The Archies took 2. They had a massive hit with 2 of these. I just want one of them. Write it down. The Archies took 2 of these. Okay? 3 more clues to come. Then tell me what links them all together if you can. Okay? That's your first clue. Let's get to the game. Valerie is with us in Heaton. But just before we do that, Maureen's been on with her heart-stopping moment. How about this? A few days ago, I was walking to Hendon Prom and took the path that runs off the main road. It used to run behind the factory that's gone now. Usually there's lots of other people around there, but I was alone. On almost reaching the railway bridge and the prom, my right foot began sliding very slowly in front of me. It felt as though I was sliding on soft silk, not hard ice or hard loose gravel that I would have felt and heard. I had no control to stop it. Usually if you slip it happens very quickly and you fall back, but not this time. I couldn't understand why my foot was slowly moving forward with no help from me. I was wearing non-slip Skechers walking shoes. My heart almost stopped. I kept calm, thinking, it's very slow. Why is this happening? It's stupid. I'll be okay if I move my trailing left foot towards to lessen the gap. It was grounded. I couldn't move it. I thought, I'm going down here, but slowly, so I'll be okay and not hurt myself. But all of a sudden my left knee folded and crashed to the ground as my left foot suddenly shot out from being folded on my toes to behind me, while my right leg was extended out front. I thought, if I rolled to my right, I could use my good leg to get me up, but I suddenly felt my back hit the ground. I lay there for about 30 seconds, wondering how it could have happened in such slow motion, with me not being able to do anything about it. I walked down the slope. I bathed my knee in the salt water. It was bruised and slightly bloody where the rough surface had skinned it. I was wondering if a spirit was playing games with me. Have you or your listeners experienced anything like it before? I really can't make sense of it. I'll be taking the main way to the beach in future. That's Maureen in Sunderland. Who knows? But has anything like that ever happened to you? Pick up your telephone, give us a call. We have Valerie. Blimey, Steve Winwood wrote a song about her in Heaton. Hello, Valerie.
Hello there, you all right?
I'm good, darling. Thank you for calling. What's your story then?
My heart stopped a moment a while ago. I'd been at work and I came in and my husband said, oh, there's been some Sunday paper reports at the door, and I thought I'd won a prize because I'm always doing competitions, you know.
All right, yeah.
And they hung around anyway. They came back and they hung around the whole day, and in the end I relented and let them in, and they were relentless. They just wouldn't go away. They camped outside the door, and I thought, what's it about? And it was all about my ex-husband and what he had been doing, and they wanted a story.
Oh.
That was really heart-stopping for us, because I hadn't heard from him for a long, long time, you know.
Right. So why all of a sudden did they come out? Had something happened to him?
What had happened was he had remarried, and the lady he remarried, he had been getting an award for Dad of the Year, and she said, I'm not having this. She said, I won't go into too much detail,
Sure.
but after the things he had done to our children and to mine.
Oh, my goodness.
She
Right.
says, I'm not having this. So she wrote to them in London, but didn't know about me. And of course, the knock-on effect was they were at the Civic Centre digging up all my records to find out where I was.
Oh, my goodness.
I remarried and that, and it was quite a shock.
Yeah, and also the other thing that it does is it ruffles the water at home, because that was another time. You were a different person. You've got your own little family going now. You don't want anything to disrupt it in any way. Of course you don't.
Well, they had
that's awful. Awful.
They wanted to take some photos in the house, and I said, no. I said, I'm not having that, because I have another son now, and I'm not having these photos in papers. So I put a stop to that, but they just wouldn't go away. He went, at one point he went, yes, last week we were chasing Prince Harry, and this week we're chasing you, you know, to butter us up. And I thought, but I'm just a cleaner. I just want to come home and just relax.
No,
it was quite...
But you see, I've got a fair bit of experience with the press, and most people who are involved with the press, you know, the local people that come out, they've got a degree of sensitivity. They're nice people, and they don't do that. The nationals, as soon as any national story breaks, they send people up. They're told, get a picture of this, get it, and they'll get a story any which way they can. If they've got to lie through their teeth, they'll do it. If they've got to harass you until you give in, they'll do it. They're a bunch of nasties, and you're better off without them. Oh.
Well, they were like going up to his house, and he lives quite a long way from where I do now. Nowadays, I've obviously found out through them, and I went, want you be going up to him and giving anything about me. I said, that's over for me. I don't want him knowing anything about me or my life or anything. And they were dotting between him, the lady he'd married. He's given this lady a right merry dance. The same merry dance he'd done to me. And the things he had done, I can't even bear to tell you. That's so bad. You know, they're really bad.
Well, you
And
can
he'd done
understand the press being interested, but you see, if they'd came to you and said, can we have a remark that we can print, we'll not show any pictures of where you live or whatever, and just say his previous wife, and even use your initial, said, that's okay, because it's not your house, it's not on your doorstep, they're not taking a picture of your street so everybody can go, ooh, her over there. You know, there's other ways of doing it so that they get whatever story they want without, but they want it all. They want pictures of you. They want to.
Yeah, he was saying, can I put the area you live in? I went, no, you can't. I said, I don't want him knowing. He's a monster, Alan. He's a monster. Yeah. I can't tell you on air the things he did to my kids and that woman's kids and God knows how many others. And the new girl he was with put him in for Dad of the Year, which you can imagine. Dad of the Year. I mean, he was a monster. Still is, probably.
These are, but you know, we learned with the whole Savile thing that people who are right
on the right lines. Get on the right lines.
They put themselves out in the public eye, and butter wouldn't melt in their mouth, and then you never know what goes on behind closed doors.
You don't, and that's what he was like, and I mean, part of us wanted them to expose him, but not at my expense.
No.
You know,
Did he get got though? Did he get got? Was he outed by the press?
He was. They hounded him and had the story ready 2 Sundays, and of course I had to tell it where I worked. Mind, they were very good because I worked for the council, and they called us in the office and they went, any press comes here, they'll not be getting in.
Right, no, that's good.
Don't you worry at all about anything here. And 2 Sundays, got up and heart stopping each day. I got up, ran and got the paper, and then they decided to pull the story, put it in because he had threatened to sue them.
Right. So they had no proof. So essentially, he's got away with it all, has he?
He's got away with it, yeah, which is very annoying, really. But
why?
Poor wife.
I don't want to add any stress or any pressure in any shape or form. So don't think I'm doing that at all.
Oh, not at all.
Could you not have gone to the police anonymously and said, "Look, this is my position. This is what he did"? Could you not do that?
He's clever, Alan. I mean, he's a very clever person. He has been classed as extremely highly intelligent. So he was clever the way he went about things. You know, so just unbelievably highly intelligent.
But the kids are not old. Are the kids old enough to tell what happened?
Yes. They all are, and so are the other women's in Albury. It was things he did to her as well, you know. It was awful.
I don't know how people like this get away with it, and yet here's another one that's going to, by the sound of
it. The fact that he's sauntering about like Lord of the Manor, and you know what he's guilty of, you know. And he's, like you say, got away with it. And I always thought one day, you know, your past would catch up, and just hasn't. He's one of them people who
slippery,
hasn't, you know.
Slippery people.
Yeah, slippery.
Oh, my goodness.
Slippery.
Well, maybe one day all the kids will get together and say, let's start sinking these boats, because they're the only ones that can, I suppose, now.
Yeah. Trouble is, I think that much water under the bridge. But it makes me wonder how many other families he's gone on and destroyed.
Well, you see, he's relying... Well, they won't see anything, and she doesn't want to be any part of me, so she's not going to see anything. And his current one, well, she not see. You can see how he works it, but as you say, it takes a clever person to do it. I'm not bigging him up because he's a scumbag, but he knows what he's doing.
It's vulnerable people. Everyone he went, he had formed a relationship with, had some kind of either emotional problem, or didn't get on with our family, or were isolated in some way. That made it
So he
easier
became
for us.
everything to them to fill
Yeah.
fill the void.
He
No,
picked his prey carefully, as they say. That sounds awful, but that's what it was like, you know.
Well, this is another reason why you don't want to go back into that dark chapter of your life. And
Oh, no.
I absolutely get that. Absolutely get it.
The other thing I was going to say was,
Yes, my love.
just quickly,
Mhm.
doctor's receptionist.
Yes.
What a nightmare. When you try to get an appointment, now they're saying, like, can you tell us your symptoms and that? And I went, well, you're not medically trained.
Yeah.
You shouldn't be given whether I could see a doctor or not, but you are.
Yeah.
And they're stopping you seeing the doctor.
And what they're saying now is, well, we've got to give him some idea what it's about so he can swat up on it. And you think, well, he's a doctor. If he has to swat up, he's probably not the right doctor for me.
That's right. Well, I had to call the hospital about my symptoms because the doctors were just taking no notice, the receptionist, and the hospital sort of gave them a little boot, you know, and it helped them. But she said to me at the hospital, she said, even being a hospital doctor, even I had difficulty with them. She said, I even had difficulty with the GP. She was very stroppy. So that was a hospital doctor that was stroppy with as well.
But the thing that I've noticed, and it's a couple of times, I don't go a lot to the doctors, but the times that I do, two things happen. First of all, and I'm fairly sure that this is what they do. I used to have older doctors, and because of their age and experience, you would tell them what was wrong, and they would tell you what they were going to do about it. Just straightforward. Modern day doctors do this other thing. They say, oh, well, what's the matter with you? And you say, oh, I've got a bit of that. So they'll type it down. Type. And do you have headaches? All headaches. Type. And you got sniffly nose or sniffly nose, whatever it is. And then they press a button and the computer tells them, you don't need to be a doctor to do that. In my opinion, you know, they should... the most likely thing, computer says, the likelihood is you've got a bit of a cold or whatever. I would rather have a doctor that knew these things rather than, well, let's see what the computer says. Because you'll know yourself, if you're poorly, you go to Google and you say, got a bit of a pain in me right knee. Wonder what that could be. Pains in your knees could be rheumatism, could be arthritis, could be... We can all look it up on a computer, can't we? Right. But I just think that doctors used to, and I don't know whether I'm just looking over my shoulder with those rosy tinted glasses, but doctors used to be able to tell you what was wrong without having to type them all into a computer and seeing what the computer says. That's the first thing. And the other thing is they use different systems. Everybody's records are on 2 or 3 different... One's called ACE. I know there's one called ACE, and there's a couple of others, and all the patient's details are there. So therefore, if you go to hospital, the hospital should be able to access all of your records. And because of kidney stones and a couple of other issues that I've had over the years, every time I go to hospital, they say, oh, well, we'll just see what your GP said. And they log it, they use a different system to us. Now, they shouldn't.
No, they shouldn't.
What's if they can't get your records, you could be allergic to somebody, to something rather, and it could adversely affect your health. Surely the National Health Service should be able to talk to your doctor, you know.
Well, I had one where have you heard of an inguinal hernia? It's sort of in your groin-like type thing. But
right.
I had a very I went for a scan and it showed up small left inguinal hernia. Nothing life-threatening. It's very small.
Okay.
But then I got sent to see a consultant and he said, oh, we wouldn't rush into surgery.
Right.
He said, I'll get my partner to have a look. And he said, no, you've got hernia. And I went, but the scans saying I have. And he went, no, scans are wrong. He says, I'm saying you haven't. So I've come away now thinking, well, have I or haven't I?
You got no idea, have you?
I haven't a clue now. I feel like it is there, but it's very, very small.
Right.
And I couldn't help feeling that maybe the thought was too small
To bother with.
Doing anything with.
Yeah, but it's small because it's not in them.
Yeah. yeah, they're not bothered. Like when I got a blood clot, one of them went, Valerie's got a blood clot, but I'm not overly worried. And I thought, no, you're not overly worried because I'm the one that's got it.
Absolutely.
You know, and I thought, I'm worried though. I thought, I don't want that to break off. And I mean, thankfully it's gone now after 11 months. Yeah. But if I had listened to the GP, they were saying, after 3 months, it'll be gone, we'll stop the meds. And I went, oh no. I said, I want another scan, and it hadn't gone. And it took 11 months to go.
There you
So
go.
I
Well, you
don't
see.
trust GPs very much.
No, and a friend of mine went recently and he was feeling a bit stressed and kind of really suffering a bit with it because mental health's been an issue for a lot of people over the lockdown and all this kind of stuff. And he went for a bit of help and they put him on tablets that made him worse. And, and they gave like psycho things. He was having headaches, he had hot flushes, thought he was having a heart attack, had to come off the tablets. And when he went back, he got told off for coming off them. And you're thinking, I would have come off them if we were doing all that kind of thing to, you know.
I feel like GPs, all they want to do is hand you tablets or send you to the hospital.
Yeah, nod the ball instead of dealing with it. No, I hear that.
Yeah, because same as you, I had the Dr. Kumar in Benwell.
Ah, bless him.
Was my doctor as well. He delivered me into the world.
Yeah.
So, don't get them like that now.
No.
It's not like that. It's
Not
a
at
shame,
all.
but they're not.
He was one of my dad's best friends, Dr. Kumar, over the years, and they helped each other out a fair bit over the time. But he was very and again, you obviously have heard me talking about him before. He was one of those old-fashioned doctors that you could, as soon as you'd booked the appointment, you started feeling better because you knew when you got there, he'd know exactly what it was. He'd know exactly whether to give you something or not, and whatever he said would happen. Or in the next couple of days,
And
you'll
you
feel
never
a bit.
see the same doctor, do you? Every time. I always
Not
see
now.
a different one each
Not
time
now.
I go.
Yeah, not now at all.
And like you say, they look on the computer and get their answers up there. They don't. They're not like proper doctors anymore.
Well, I mean, that might just be an older person's view, but it's because I can remember vividly from a child growing up with this person who always saw you. You didn't go to the doctor unless it was with them. You know, if somebody said, "Oh, he's off today," you say, "Well, can I see him tomorrow?" You know, you wouldn't go in and just see whoever just happened to be sitting in the seat. You'd want to see your doctor because they knew you.
To get a phone call now.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, it's ridiculous.
It's less than ideal, that's for sure.
I
Hey, but
almost get the feeling, don't be ill. Only be ill between 9 and 5 and only Monday to Friday.
yeah, and if it's
Be
a
ill on
bank
the weekend
holiday,
or in
you're
the
in
evening.
bank holidays. You're in big trouble.
Terrible though, isn't it?
Let's just hope everybody stays well enough for tomorrow. But hey, lovely talking to you, Valerie. Thank you for coming us with that.
Thanks now.
All the
Bye-bye.
best. Bye-bye. 0191 488 3188. Have doctors really changed that much, or have you got a really great GP? I mean, a lot of them have the best will in the world. It just, does it feel like perhaps there's too many of us now for them to deal with us in the way they used to deal with us? But do you feel about doctors today the way you used to do it? Fair question. 0191 488 3188. Or is it our fault, perhaps? Time for a quick break, and the stars come out at night. And this time, it's Duran Duran. Looking at your track record, it's going to be actually quite difficult to scrape through. But I'm just thinking, what's been the highlight and the low light of your time in the game? Yeah.
Well, I don't know. I mean, like, for me, I think the low light was just getting too out of it, and just letting all the booze getting on top of things. I couldn't see the wood for the trees for a while. I couldn't see any joy in it. That was a downtime, definitely. But God willing, that's been a while now. Rog?
I think it's when we played Live Aid, actually, because I felt like the spirit of that first part of the career, if you like, the feeling that we had when we got together as a band had kind of disappeared somewhere, and that kind of really destabilised me, I think. And I wasn't a happy camper at that point.
And yet everybody
that turned
looking
out to be
at you.
Yeah, exactly.
Everybody,
it's like, don't worry, there's only 10 billion people watching. Come on, just relax. It's like, what? And I think that was the last gig, I actually played with the band at the.
Yeah, we
with
kind
the
of split
original
into
lineup.
two camps, hadn't we?
Yeah.
There was like Simon and Nick, and there was John and Andy, and Roger, you were kind of in the middle.
Yeah,
you
I was
like,
kind of stranded a
yeah,
little bit in the middle.
Yeah.
And but anyway, I left. Then we came back. The reunion was great, and I think when we got to play at Wembley again, 5 nights was like amazing. 'Cause we didn't have any expectations when we reformed. It was like, let's just get back together, write some new stuff, see where it goes, and it was amazing. It was like a magical experience, to come back and ride that wave again.
The lights are flashing. It's something energy-wise because these lights are batteries are new. Yeah, I know. See the lights are going. Batteries are new.
Yeah, unbelievable. We may have to take our leave a little bit earlier than we thought, but there's stuff happening here. Can you do another before we finish? Can we do one more lap of the shop?
Yeah.
Because
It just freezes for them. That's all.
No, I know that.
So look, and give it a go.
But we'll give it a try before we leave. I want you to look at what's around, because if they say that things move here, you've got to keep your eyes open for anything that might have moved from the moment that we came in, because we haven't touched anything. We're not, obviously, it's not courteous to move any of the things that they've got here on display. But we will probably be having to curtail this a little bit earlier than we normally would.
Everyone's complaining about the signal.
For obvious, we're going to have to move. So that's just what we're going to have to do. So do we do more?
I can do sweep at the back.
Do a sweep, and then we're going to have to come out.
Yeah.
That's just how it has to be. Oh, that's a shame, because it was starting so nice. Just make sure that if you can, a very quick rotate around the shop. Oh, what a shame. Maybe it's because of the age of the place, or maybe they're playing with us, whatever's here, because there's definitely energy here. Oh, I'm so sorry to leave you so soon. Go. This stuff, this is where it happens. It's in here. This is where it happens. And the door's open now, and nobody's been near the door. Seriously, Kenny, did you go anywhere near the toilet door? Did you go anywhere near the toilet door? The door's open. Look.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to go back.
Go. Look.
That wasn't open before.
No. Right. So I know the ladies are watching this. I'm afraid you're gonna have to come back. And we wish we could have done an awful lot more. But we're going to have to actually probably go out. Do you want to? Can you pack the stuff together? Keep
Give us that mic and I'll stick it in the pocket.
right.
It's a great place to visit.
I'm devastated. We came and we checked it out, and everything was fine. We were getting no issues. I'll take the night vision. Just make sure you get everything, and take Tony's little side thing too. And hopefully the ladies will be running along from their coffee. I know they barely had time. What a shame. But
the mic will fit through.
right, do you want to go, Ken? Go for it. I've got the night vision here. Oh, what a shame. Shall I do one last lap while the ladies are there? Can you hear me still clearly? Right, this part. Oh, what a shame. It's just when you find good people that are prepared to not let you come into their properties.
Hopefully the signal's a bit better now.
I heard knocking there behind me. Oh, dear. Come on, I'm not going to be here for long. Can you give me anything? Anything at all? Oh, tiny little noise. Cup and sorcery, I thought. Like a ceramic-y kind of noise. The ladies are coming back. Oh my goodness. What a shame. But the thing is, if you guys can't get what we're getting, we have to take our leave. Lots of cars on the street outside. Any other ladies? Ladies, we're so sorry. It looked good. I enjoyed it. Well, I'm glad you did, but we're going to have to take our leave. But thank you so much for your kindness. We wish it had been longer. We got a few in. There was a clear noise in there as well, which is amazing. But thank you very much indeed. Right. So let's head up this way, and then let me tell you a little bit of a story. You can probably not need the light, I would have thought, but let me tell you a story. Mary Ann Robson. I want to tell you her story because Mary Ann Robson was born in Hettonley Hall in 1843, long time ago. And Mary Ann Robson, get the name right, because that was her name. And her dad was called Michael Robson, and Michael was a pitman, and he fell 150 feet to his death in a pit. He fell 150 feet, and they brought the body back, broken neck, 2 broken legs, a broken arm, a dislocated hip, and they brought the body back to Mary Ann Cotton's mum's house in a sack that read, right, okay. Well, let me just, before we go any further, let me just tell you that up here to the left, if you go up here to the left, is the old police station where Mary Ann Cotton was imprisoned. All right. We had a bit of shouting and screaming of your standard late night bar crowd. So we're off the hoof, but we'll turn this into as much magic as we can for you. We've got to be somewhere else in about 25 minutes time. But it's just down here. There's 2 buildings. Stop here and just up there. Don't go any further, Tony, because we are going to be heading back. Up there to your left-hand side, you see those old buildings on the side? That's where the old police station is. Directly above. You can tell the pubs are back open again. Let's go back down.
Call Alan Robson's Night Owls now.
0191 488 3188.
This is real life conversation with the voice of the North.
Greatest Hits Radio.
It is indeed that. Alan Robson with you. Time for us to dive straight back into the call, so make sure you get your call in too, please. We are looking at worries, fears, blind terrors, heart-stopping moments, really. We also want to find out, has anybody been on holiday, and if so, where did you go and what was it like? having a holiday, because we're still in the tail end of lockdown. We also want to know daft things that happen at weddings, because there's always something at every wedding. So you tell us yours. Brian is in Gateshead. Hello, Brian.
Hi, Alan. Great show.
Thank you, man. Thanks for being part of it. What you got for me then?
A couple of things. And first of all, hello?
Hello?
Oh, I can hear weird whistling noises on my phone, like strange noises, but never mind, I'll carry on.
That's the men in black, because I think you're talking UFOs, aren't you?
Yeah, it sounds like a ghostly thing there. Somebody's like whistling in the background. I can hear somebody whistling. It's bizarre. It's like a ghostly thing.
Okay, right.
I like Norwich. Yeah, I was just going to ask you what you think about the UFO situation, that they're releasing loads of information lately about UFOs and stuff. And I think at the end of the month they're going to be releasing a load of reports.
Yeah, they've said that, and 2 or 3 people at NASA. Now, we've been saying over the last 2 or 3 years that more stories are being released, they're being prepared to talk about more. It was interesting because Barack Obama was asked about them, and he said, as far as he knows, there's nothing there, and we know that they've got laboratories where they're looking into engineering. It's patently obvious that the president didn't have a clue. So he's obviously asked the question, and kind of like the president in Independence Day, he hasn't got a clue. They've kept it all kind of quiet from them. But now when you hear NASA people, people that are in the business, when you hear them talking, it's all, well, of course aliens exist. We've known about it for and it was only 2 or 3 years ago when they were saying there's no such thing, not as far as we know. So they're being more upfront about it. What do you think the real situation is? I mean,
I think there's stuff out there that we don't fully understand, and it's kind of like, because we don't understand it, they're just trying to ignore it. I think a lot of the top NASA fellas don't know what. I don't think it's things from other planets, but I think it's things from other dimensions coming through.
From other dimensions, right?
Yeah, I think that these spacecraft are not from, as we know it, from this kind of time zone, from somewhere else. That's what I think. And I think because they're so high-powered that we haven't got that technology on this planet to catch up to them. Do you know what I mean? And there's been loads of, situations where the films, they've got stuff on radar. There's stuff being released now. There's a guy who's a UFO... I forgot his name now, Goldridge or somebody in America. He's actually releasing loads of information about actually catching UFOs on radar and that.
Right.
So that's going to be released shortly on another station some time ago when we were talking about UFOs and that, and he was like a top guy who knew all about UFOs. He's been studying for decades and that. So, yeah, to me, I just think these are like craft from a different dimension that we don't fully understand.
But if they are from another dimension, are they a threat to us? Because they've obviously found a way to travel interdimensionally then.
Yeah, for some strange reason, they seem to be located around a lot of military installations, military bases, naval bases. So for all we know, there could be they could have some kind of place deep under the sea that we've never been. I don't know. But I do actually believe that there's stuff out there that we don't fully understand, and I think
sure that's the case.
really serious, that from another dimension.
But
another planet.
But to fit in with your theory, because these are things that are seen around military bases, could it not just be experimental craft from the actual bases themselves? Do they have to come from another dimension or another planet? Could they not just be stuff that we're working on?
Absolutely not. This guy who I heard on he's an expert, and he said this technology is just not available to anybody because obviously, we don't understand how it's able to move so fast up and down, left, right, and we haven't got the technology in our time frame to do that right now. So, yeah, they reckon at the end of, is it 3 months' time, they're going to be releasing more information about it.
Yes.
So, what's your view on it, Alan? Do you believe that they're from somewhere else, or what do you think?
Well, over the last probably 15 to 20 years, we decided, because we were able to at the time, to travel to places, and we did a series of radio shows called Alien Jesus and the Jesus Seed and a whole load of others about whether or not we've been visited by alien technologies in years gone by. And I absolutely believe that we have, because of the proof that's left on the planet. Not, there was a dot in the sky. This is stuff that's on Earth that you can go and see. There's a thing in India where there's a piece of metal sticking into the ground. It's about 30, 40 feet long, and nobody knows what kind of metal it is. I mean, so where did it come from? It's not from Earth, so where did it come from? And you think, well, okay, if it came from space, well, who shaped it into a long cylindrical piece of metal? You know, it's not like it's just a bit of scrap floating around that fell. And there's other things that were built on the planet that were impossible to build when they were built. So who put them together? And there's one, a pyramid in South America, that one day it wasn't there, and 2 days later, according to the records, you know, the Spanish records of the time, 2 days later there was a building there. And you think, right? I mean, it's not like we had long trucks that you could put a building on the back of and crane up into the air and drop down. We're talking a long time ago. So there's obviously been stuff happening where we live that we don't understand. And I mean, that's our own planet. Before we even get started on the moon, Mars, you know, and keep going further into the galaxies, we don't even know what's happened here. So
no, I know. It's a funny thing. Do you know the weather as well? And they keep on saying that the weather on Earth is changing. Does anybody actually monitor other planets around the sun just to see what their weather patterns are like? Because if we're changing and they're not, well, how come they're not changing as well?
Well, they would argue that's because of all our use of fossil fuels over the years have completely screwed with, you know, our ecosystem, and that's why a lot of politicians, with the exception of Trump, who's now gone, that they've been trying to come to some agreement to try and stop us affecting our planet in a negative kind of way. So I don't know whether we've left it too late or not. But you see, it's easy to get kind of... what really is the word? It's easy to get... to feel that it's not... we shouldn't be in a hurry, because they'll say things like, in 2,000 years we'll... Now, I can't quantify 2,000 years in my head. 2,000 years ago, they were talking about this new Messiah, you know? So 2,000 years in the future, I'm not going to be here, you're not going to be here, all your kids aren't going to be here. So can we really care about it? Of course we should, but I can understand countries going, wait, it's a long way off. Let's live for today and do the best we can now, and hopefully by then they might have new technologies. And everybody else says, no, you've got to protect the planet now for our children and their grandchildren, etc. But I can understand people saying, I'm going to spend my money on what people need right now rather than what they might need in 2,000 years. I can see both sides of that. And the answers, as most answers are, is usually somewhere loosely down the middle. But I think people should be looking at the other planets around the sun to see if they're going the same way. I'm not sure. I'm not sure how much information they can get. You know, to say, was it sunny yesterday on Venus? Do you know what I mean?
Oh no, I was thinking more or less. I know the places are quite hot now, but I was just wondering, is there no way of measuring the temperature, see if it's gone up?
See if it's going up or down.
You know, on like Jupiter, right? I mean, like, that's a massive planet to have massive storms, don't it? Like on there, you know, thousands of miles per hour. Can they not monitor Jupiter, for God's sakes? I mean, it's quite far out, I know, but can they not look at Jupiter and say, well, you know, that planet's been affected by... Because it seems strange that we're the only ones who's got a sun right next to it. I mean, all these other planets are quite far out. And that's why I've always wondered, you know, when they do go to Mars, how are they going to survive on Mars when Mars is quite far out from the sun? You know what I mean? You think it would freeze to death, wouldn't it? Because it's quite far out.
Well, I mean, it's when they talk about, well, we're going to go to the moon and we're going to dig for ore and we're going to get all these mineral rights and it's going to make us a fortune and da-de-da. You keep hearing various people wanting to go various places for various reasons. First of all, they think they know what the atmosphere is like on Mars, but nobody's been there, so nobody can be that certain. On the other hand, they've always talked about if they go back to Mars, they'll build a colony that'll be sealed, and there'll be buildings that you stand up and they're like prefabricated buildings and they protect you from the atmosphere, so you'll be able to walk around normally, and then build the next bit, then the next bit, then the next bit. We probably have the technology to do it. It's just, if you could never go out in the air, would you want to live there?
Oh no! I mean, don't forget, if you're there, you'll have to have your spacesuit on forever. Would you? You can't really take your spacesuit off because you'll die, probably, wouldn't you?
Unless you were in your thing, yeah. Unless you were in your pod or whatever, you've got to keep your kit on, and therefore you have to keep it maintained and full of oxygen and da-de-da-de-da. It's a faff. And so it's going to take a while. But you've got to remember that's exactly how people who've stayed at the Mir space station have been. And some of them have been there for 3 months, 6 months at a go. So if they can do it, it's not impossible that we couldn't do it. And we're probably more advanced versions of spacesuits to work on the planet. Maybe. But is the money not better spent on Earth, do you think?
Yeah, that's what I was thinking of spend. I mean, I was watching, do you know when they went to the moon, Alan? I looked at this programme about the moon. It was back on it was on that...
Same channel.
Some channel in America. I forgot what it's called now. And the money that I spent to get to the moon was billions and billions of dollars. And I remember these guys were saying, like these hippie fellas, this is a lot of waste of money. They could actually do a lot in America. This is back in 1969. They could do a lot over here to improve housing instead of squander it all off into space. Right. Just going for a walkabout. But I suppose it was a psychological thing. They wanted to get there before the Russians, got on the planet, on the moon.
There's a bit of that, but if you let's say you go back to the 1600s. And say, I'm the king of Spain, and I've heard that there's this other place over there, and there's gold and jewels, and there's lots of land, and it's amazing. And if we got there first, we could claim it for Spain, and it would be brilliant. And then people were saying, but for the amount of money it's going to cost us to build a fleet of ships to go over there, you could do great stuff here in Spain and look after your poor people and all the rest of it. However, they went to South America and they went to, and I know they didn't discover America, but Christopher Columbus and his other two ships claimed at the time that they were the ones that did it. We know the Vikings. Yeah. We know the Vikings beat them. But so they went across there, and half of Central America provided money to Spain for about 15, 20, 30 years. Before everybody else tried to get their noses in the trough. But so if the Spanish hadn't decided to spend money on going out there to another place, South America and North America wouldn't be the places that they are today. Now, you could argue that's either a good thing or a bad thing, but they wouldn't possibly not even been found. Who knows?
Oh, exactly. It does make you wonder. But the last point before I go on is, like Tynemouth, Whaley Bay, Cullercoats, Monk Seaton, right?
Yes.
Nice coastal areas. I'm trying to whinge at the council for the lack of toilet facilities. They've got no toilets anywhere, you know what I mean? It's like, and you've got kids within that. How are you supposed to take the kids to the toilet when there's no toilets around? And, and obviously some of the pubs aren't open and that, and it's like, you go there, they want people to come there, to go to the seaside, to enjoy themselves. Why aren't they actually investing in outside toilets or something for people to go to? Because it's like big touristy areas, aren't they? Do you know what I mean?
100%. You can go to Tynemouth railway station, but you've got to walk all the way up from the front to the railway station. That's not great. At Whitley Bay in the Spanish city, if it's open, and because there's bars and restaurants in there now, there's toilets in there too. You might have to pretend you're buying fish and chips and a burger, but you can use the toilets in there. And I absolutely agree with you, because if you're a family with kids, you don't necessarily want to go into a pub or or any of that, anything like that. And they always used to be 3 or 4 public toilets close to the beach so that parents could take their kids in and stuff, you know. And they're all long gone now, and it is a absolute shame.
There's one toilet down at Colour Courts there, right? And it's a disabled. It's got a ramp, so I'm assuming it's a disabled toilet, but the door's locked. You've got to have a key to get in. If a normal person hasn't got a key, how are they supposed to get in? Do you know what I mean? It's crazy.
And I don't even know anybody who's disabled who has a key for these places. You know, usually it says, oh, well, if you need to go to the toilet, you've got to see Harry. And where's Harry? Oh, he's 3 doors down past the thing. And you go, whoa. First of all, if you're desperate to go to the loo, you want to go now. You don't want to go after somebody's been to see Harry. Do you know what I mean? I just think there's got to be better ways of dealing with things. Even if they had some of those push-in metallic TARDIS-looking damn things, you know.
Yeah. In the city, I mean, I know it's a bit difficult. They could put them close to the metro stations. I mean, where it can't be vandalised because obviously there's houses there.
Yeah.
And if people can go in there and use them, do you know what I mean, without smashing them up. I don't know why the council don't put them in there because it's horrific when there's loads. I've seen loads of people down the coast last week, and I was thinking to myself, well, they're all going to go to the toilet because some of them probably don't want to go in pubs and that because all the pubs aren't open.
And you kind of know that if they've got swimming trunks on, you know where they're going to go to the toilet, don't you? They're just
but if the water's a bit too chilly now, you're going to be having people like finding funny places to, you know,
I know, and
that, you know, it's not nice.
That's not where there's lots of kids running around. But you can always tell when somebody's weeing because they're standing there as if they're, I'm looking at the horizon and I'm not moving. You know what they're doing. You know what they're doing. If they're up to their waist, you know what they're up to.
So I just want to say to the council, get your finger out and get some toilets put in these areas because tourists are going there and they're just, you know, it's a nightmare finding toilets, so do something about it, council.
There you go. That's them telt. Thanks, Brian.
Cheers, Alan.
Cheers, man. Bye-bye. UFOs, what do you feel about the release of additional documents? Are you convinced? Are you not convinced? What's the crack? Want to say a big thank you to David, who sent in a couple of ghost pictures. Really good ones, too. Thank you very much. I hope he's coming on. I'll have a chat with him. And in the meantime, we have Sue, who's in Washington. Hello, Sue.
Hello.
Hello there. So what are you on about tonight, Sue?
Right, well, I've been wanting to phone in for a few weeks. I've written a bit of a list down.
Ooh, go on. Right.
Right, things that make you cringe. That was one of the subjects. Belly buttons. Hate belly buttons.
But you've got a belly button.
I know, but what's its purpose? I just can't stand it. My daughter used to torment me and lift a top up and put a finger in a belly button. I just cannot stand them.
Belly button, but if you don't want a belly button, where do you put your salad cream when you're eating celery?
Not in my belly button, that's for sure.
Oh, well, that's what it's for. It's for salt, for pepper, bit of chili dip if you've got spring rolls.
No. Oh, God.
Well, it depends how big your belly button is, I suppose. I mean, what do you use yours for? Do you open like beer bottles with it? I mean, what do you use yours for?
No. I just wish I didn't have. They do then when I had my gallbladder operation.
Right.
Because they put 3 incisions in. Well, anyway, they cut in 3. Right.
They cut into your belly button.
Yeah, one of the incisions is in the belly button.
Oh, blimey, right.
And when I come out of hospital, I was advised to keep the wounds clean. Well, there's no way I could clean it. My friend used to come and clean the belly button for us because I just couldn't do it.
Oh, what a job. Okay.
Oh, she didn't mind because she's quite good at like medical things and that too.
Oh, so I mean, so while she was there, did you say, can you mind having a look round the back as well and giving a bit of a tidy up around the exhaust as well? No.
No. No, definitely not. She wouldn't get near my exhaust. No way. Oh, God. Anyway, I would blow her away.
No, but I mean, belly buttons, I know one or two people that aren't keen on belly buttons, and I've never understood why, because it's just where your umbilical cord came from.
Yeah,
you I don't like outies, mind. I've got an innie. I don't know what yours is like.
Mine's an innie, thank God.
I don't like outies. A friend of mine had an outie, and it looked like there was something trying to get out, you know.
Yeah.
not a fan of them.
Horrible. Anyway, the other one was the worst noise.
Yes.
When you're in a public toilet and you can hear next door to you.
Oh, no. Yeah.
Grunt and plop, plop, splash. And, oh, my God. Hence, I never go in a public toilet. I would rather wait until I get home.
But you know, plop, plop, splash is normal, though, isn't it? It's not like they're doing something wrong.
I know, but it's just the noise. And, oh, God, no, I just couldn't. Oh, I know that. I just don't like it. And, I never... Only for a wee. I'll go in for a wee, but not for a number 2.
Well, maybe if you'd asked your friend to keep your exhaust polished better, you wouldn't mind quite so much.
No, I'd never do it. But by the time, put it this way, if I'm dying to go,
right,
I nip and wait till I get home.
Right. I mean, but if the toilets were empty, if there was nobody in, would you go?
No, still wouldn't.
Just in case when you're in there, somebody else comes in a stall nearby.
Yeah,
Right,
no, I wouldn't do that. But yeah, I just wouldn't. It has to be. I wait, I nip, and as soon as I get home, it's almost touch and cloth.
Right. We're learning so much about you, Sue. So, what's next on your list then?
The embarrassing moment.
Oh dear! Does it involve your bum by any chance?
No.
Okay, well, carry on. Let's see where this one takes us.
Well, when we used to when I lived at home with my dad, my granddad, and that, and my granddad had his own bathroom,
right,
and it had like a sliding door.
Okay.
And now and again, we used to just wash our hands in there, just for quickness, rather than going upstairs, because he had a downstairs loo as well.
Right.
And I happened to slide. I could hear my mum saying, "Don't go in there. Your granddad's in the bath." But it just seemed to just go over. And I opened the door, and there's my granddad sitting in the bath. Yeah, I remember that. Like, oh God.
Hey, you didn't say much though, did you? Did you have his bits under a flannel or something? Did he?
Well, I think so. Yeah, I didn't keep the door open long enough to see.
No, because you really do. The older the man, the less you should look, because the one thing that they never tell you is that when you get beyond a certain age, fortunately I'm not quite at that age yet, but when you get past a certain age, your lower tackle spread out like an octopus. It's not a pleasant thing to see. So you need a flannel or a small towel just to hide it. That's what you need.
Do you know, I was talking to her mum the other day, and she says, "I hate my ears. They've got bigger." And I said, "How? They don't." She said, "They are." She said, "As you get older, your ears get bigger."
Your ears get bigger and your testicles get longer. That's just how it is. Can't be helped.
No. Anyway, the heart-stopping minute moment.
You're right.
That took my granddad in the bath, would have been one of them.
Probably for him too, I'm guessing.
Yeah. And I don't know whether to tell you this or not, because
you're too late. You've already committed now, Sue. Off you go.
Well, when me and my husband, before we got married and we were courting and that was our kind of like second date.
Okay.
And he took us back to his.
He took you what?
He took me back to his.
Oh, he took us back to his, right? Okay.
Yeah, and we were having a drink and that, and then we kind of like had a tickling fight, so he was tickling me and I'm tickling. And
right.
When he was tickling me, I was laughing so much. I pumped.
Oh, that's... Yeah, it kind of took the edge off the mood, I would have thought.
I thought, oh my God. I never said anything, and it was like, Mum, stay in the road, and he says, You know, I did hear you pump.
He just didn't want. He just didn't want to say it too. He was being a gentleman. He was leaving it until you get to that point, because there is a point in your relationship when you're almost allowed to do that kind of thing, but not when you're first courting. No, that's not. You see, it's all about your faulty exhaust, Sue. You see, it's all about the problems. You need to go to Quick Fit, lass.
He fitters with a cork, yeah. My God. God. And the heart-stopping moments, I'm trying to think what I've put on the thing now. Bit sad, but it is sad. Seeing my dad die in front of us.
No, my goodness. That would be anybody's.
Yeah.
That's awful.
And then getting the news now that my sister's got cancer, which isn't...
They're real hard. I mean, in light of the care, because I know we were making light of it. Some of them are just downright awful. Hey, but Sue, thank you very much. You made us all smile.
I want to tell you something else, right?
Go on, then.
A couple more things.
Okay.
What it is, I heard the lady talking about the doctors a few calls ago.
Yeah.
Now, I went into the chemist the other day at Asda. I will say where it is, Asda. I've since rang up and complained, but I went to get some ibuprofen because, they used to be on my prescription for pain, and so and they took them off. They said it's cheaper to buy over the counter, which is fair enough.
Right.
So anyway, I went there and I said, "Look, can I have some ibuprofen?" And she said, "Do you take anything else?" And I went, "Oh yes, I take the lansoprazole, which is the stomach protector. When you have ibuprofen, that you have to have that."
Right.
And she said, "So you've got stomach issues?" And I went, "No, it's to help us prevent stomach issues when you're taking them." And she kept going on and on and on. I said, "No, it's from a pain, but I take the lansoprazole to prevent it from causing damage to my stomach." And she said, "Well, I'm going to have to go in the back and ask." And I said, "I don't believe this, She's the second person who's ever asked, right? The first time I was asked, she accepted it, lansoprazole, yes, that's fair enough. And this one kept on about, you've got stomach issues. No, I haven't. And I really felt so embarrassed and small,
Yeah, because you're in a public place. It's not like you're in a private doctor's room or anything like that. You're going to have to be real quick because we're heading to the news, Sue. So what was the last thing? You said you had a couple of things.
Oh, that's gone now. I can't think.
Hey, well, you've done great. You've done great. Thank you, Sue.
All right, thank you, Alan.
Take care, bye-bye. It's the Night Owls, Alan Robson with you. Greatest Hits Radio Northeast. Thanks for being with us. Chris the Truck says there are public toilets on the ramp at the church end of Long Sands. There you go. Well, obviously pointed out so well that nobody knows where they're there, but Chris does. These truckers know everything. We got another star coming out at night very soon, but not till after this.
And it was that day that they brought back a dad's body in a sack that said property of South Hetton Coal Board. Didn't even put him in a coffin because they didn't value the people that worked for them. She was a dressmaker. She married a guy called Will Mowbray. And within 3 weeks, all 5 of his children died. They had the first son, Robert. He died aged 1. And then her husband, Will, died due to an intestinal disorder. Then they met George Ward, moved to Seaham Harbour, not far from here, but had an affair with a guy called Joe Nattrass. Like Irving Nattrass used to play for Newcastle. Yeah. Joe Nattrass. Then her daughter Margaret died of typhus, supposedly, leaving her just one child left, who was called Isabella, who went to live with Granny Robson, which is, of course, Mary Ann Cotton's mum. Mary married George Ward, a wealthy engineer. He died, they said, of typhoid, but Mary got £4, 10 shillings. She'd got £25, 5 shillings for Will Mowbray, her previous husband. Mary then went on to work as a housekeeper for a shipwright called James Robinson. However, Granny Robson caught hepatitis, so Mary went to look after her. She survived the hepatitis, but she died of stomach pains. So Isabella went back with her, but soon she had stomach pains and died. So Robinson married Mary. Within 3 weeks of marrying her, 2 of Robinson's children died, and she ended up burying all 3 of them within a week. Mary then got £5.10 and 6 for Isabella's insurance. She was farming the insurance community. So they had another 2 children. The 1-year-old, Isabella, died of stomach problems. And then little George was born. And this is a never-ending child-having catalogue. Robinson then became a bit suspicious because she wanted to insure him and he didn't want to be insured. So if you can imagine this, Tony, you've got Robinson, they're married, and you discover your wife wants to insure you. She's already made, while you've been with her, 5 claims for the deaths of children while you're with her. Then you discover she's borrowed £60, giving you £60 worth of debt back then was like £2,000. She'd also stolen 50 quid from his lockbox. And then she'd persuaded his very own children, the surviving ones, to go and pawn all of the things that he owned, all of the, the wealthy things, the gold, the silver, the bits that he had, that he was keeping. So he did what any man should do under those circumstances. He chucked her out and she ended up on the streets, homeless, nobody with her. What was she going to do next? Well, the amazing thing was she had a friend called Margaret, and Margaret's brother, Charlie Cotton, he was just widowed, and he was looking for somebody to maybe be the next Mrs. Cotton, and decided he was going to have this woman maybe doing a little bit of housekeeping. But she's quite cute. She's a Robson, so there'd be an ounce of sexy there somewhere. So he decided she was going to be the one for him, and it's down in this vicinity that we're heading. Just cut across, we're going to that little alleyway that I told you about before, Tony. So she's on the streets, recently widowed. Then her best friend Margaret died of stomach problems after having a meal with Mary. And they were bigamously married at St Andrew's Church in Newcastle, up at the Haymarket. Right, yeah. And Robert was born soon afterwards. But then she heard that Joe Natras, I love her, here to Auckland. So she got, not Charlie Cotton, Fred.
Easing restrictions in England. The roadmap means all legal rules on social gatherings are set to be lifted on the 21st of June, but NHS providers says hospitals are still under pressure because of waiting lists. Hundreds of people have joined a convoy of cars along the Morecambe Promenade in Lancashire to remember a toddler who was killed by a gas explosion. 2-year-old George Hines died in the blast in Heysham earlier this month, which is now being treated as a criminal investigation. Downing Street says the Prime Minister and his now wife will celebrate with family and friends next summer. Boris Johnson and Carrie Symonds got married yesterday at Westminster Cathedral. These people were at the Sunday service earlier.
Lovely, lovely, lovely. For here, he got married yesterday in our church. Oh, lovely.
Him getting married is good for him. It settles him down. He's got someone to go home to every day. Might also be good for his temperament.
The Israeli Prime Minister may soon be ousted from the job after 12 years. A deal between 2 opposition parties is moving closer. And in tennis, Japan's Naomi Osaka could be expelled from the French Open. She's been fined £10,500 after refusing to take part in press conferences. It's to protect her mental health. From Sky News, I'm Fraser Knight.
Thanks, Fraser. And time for your second clue. if you are up to being able to manage it. We're called the hit links, so they're usually to do with hits, and you've got to put together the 4 answers and tell me what links them all together. The first clue, the Archies took 2. The Archies had a big hit. 2 what? Okay. Second clue, a huge hit for Charles and Inez Fox. Fox with 2 X's too. A huge hit for Charles and Inez Fox. If you don't go back that far, and a lot of you won't, I'll give you a second clue to the same answer. Feathered creatures who mimic other feathered creatures. Okay? Feathered creatures who mimic other feathered creatures. So 2 clues down. I said it was tricky. 2 clues down, 2 more clues to come. Anyway, let's dive across to Rich, who happens to be in Stockton upon the Tees. Hi, Rich.
Hello, Alan. How are you doing?
I'm good, mate. Thanks for calling back. So, what's rattled you tonight to get you to give me a bell?
Oh, there's a few things. Just a little bit of a chat about a few things. Okay. First of all, I've got to say, loving them ghost hunts. Absolutely love them.
Good.
Brilliant. Great. Fantastic. Just one thing on that point. I just want to say about them ghost hunts. You know, they're great and everything. You know your grizzly tales. What you do.
Yes.
You know, I just wondered, I caught the film the other night. I've seen it a couple of times, a long time since. 10 Rillington Place. I thought that would be a really good grizzly tale because it's true.
Absolutely.
And,
no, it is.
You know, something like that, you could maybe do a little bit about that one time.
Happy
maybe
to.
a bit more insight than what, like, they actually tell you. You know what I mean? Like,
sure.
You go right into it. Anyway, I just thought I'd mention that.
Do you want me just to drop you just a taster? In London, I've been lucky enough to visit Scotland Yard's Black Museum. Now, this is not generally open to the public, but the police, over the hundreds of years that they've been in existence, have kept certain items from certain cases. And one of the things that they've got was something that belonged to Christie, who was the murderer in the 10 Rillington Place story. Don't know if you can you remember the story at all? Or?
Well, the only reason I mentioned it because it was on the telly last night and I watched it.
Oh, the one with Attenborough in. Yeah. Well,
yeah.
It was a good film, and it's an old film, but it's a good old film. Horrible good old film, if you know what I mean. But when Christie was arrested in London, because he'd moved house and he'd papered over the door where the bodies were, if you remember at the end of the film.
That's right, yeah.
What they also came across is held in the Black Museum, and it's a box approximately a foot square, and inside the box there's clumps of stuff. And when the police examined it, it was pieces of torn out pubic hair belonging to all of his female victims.
God, that's unbelievable. That is amazing.
There you go. So strange but true. So maybe we will go and do exactly what you suggest. So thanks for that. Anyway, crack on. Yeah. What's your next thing?
Yeah. Moving on to the next thing. Oh, just one more little bit about Christie. I don't know whether it's true or not. Apparently, when he went to get hung, that Pierpont that hung him, Christie said to him, "Oh, my nose is itching a bit." He said, "Oh, it won't bother you much longer." I don't know whether that's true. I read that somewhere.
I've read it too. I don't know, but I've read Pierpont's book and he's got it in there. So why would he say it if it wasn't true? Because he was very much a businessman, Pierpont. He just topped him, and he didn't. The weird thing about his book is that he seems to. A lot of people that have killed people, however they have done it, they usually feel some degree of conscience. He had absolutely no conscience taking out these people, and I don't blame him, but I think it takes a certain kind of constitution to be able to carry it off, and he seemed to have had it in spades. I think his son tried to follow in his footsteps without any degree of success. So son didn't have what his dad had. Anyway, crack on.
Yeah.
Go for it.
Right, moving on. I don't know what's happening with these, but I'll just mention them. John Barrowman, Charlie Hanson, and Noel Clark. 3 people like been in the news recently and that about, well, you probably know, allegations made against them, one way or the other.
Yeah.
And I just wondered, like, there's been allegations made against them, and straight away the acts dropped straight away from different shows. I just wondered why did they do that when it's just like an allegation? It's like somebody could come and say something against somebody very famous.
Anybody
yeah.
can be.
And then they just axe them, and there's no, they might, you know. I mean, I go back to like Matthew Kelly. Remember what happened with him?
Yeah, absolutely.
You know, that kind of. I just wondered, is that just like a standard practice, or are they just scared now? Like to employ people if there's the slightest bit of bad publicity against them, you know. I mean, not that I'm saying anybody's lying or anything, you know. It's just it just seem to be very quick to drop people now with the slightest allegation against them, you know.
I think the ice cream man's just arrived. Get me
I think he has.
Get me a mivvy. It's difficult because the whole world got a shock when the Savile thing broke, and on the back of Savile, there was just, you know, the guy from It's a Knockout, the Rolf Harris, and it was one after another after another. All of these people that had been greatly loved by the public, and suddenly you discover, you know, half your childhood heroes deserve to rot in prison. And because the TV and radio stations previously had been a bit slow is an understatement. I mean, apparently something like 20 years before Savile's death, there were people going to police stations about him, and none of that came out because it was squashed by the power that is the BBC. So that being the case, the BBC now and everybody else, they're saying, well, look, just to be, you know, err on the side of caution, we'll take them off air now in case at a later stage they're found to be guilty. And if they're found guilty and we've let them continue for another 4 months, that makes us feel a little bit guilty too. So let's take them off now. And it's like, at the beginning, we were allowing them to be innocent until proven guilty.
Yeah.
But Savile got away with it without being found one way or the other. And it was only when he was dead that it all came out. So they're determined that people are now going to be guilty until they're proven innocent, which is dangerous. And a lot of people have lost their careers and been found innocent. Cliff, remember Cliff Richard? He went through something like 2.5 years of misery with it. Paul Gambaccini, found innocent. He went through years of it too. And it doesn't matter how many times you say innocent. How many people do you know, hand on heart, that have doubts about Michael Jackson?
I don't. Well, not obviously in the news. There's quite a lot of.
You've seen a lot of people questioning it.
Yeah.
However, he's been to court 3 times. It's cost him something like £8.5 million, and he's never been found guilty of anything.
Yeah.
Ever. And you could say, oh, well, he spent all that money. He spent all that money defending himself. To avoid going to court, he gave a family something like £600,000 and said, if I take this to court, it'll cost me $2 million, but I can pay you off for $600,000. So he paid this family off for $600,000. Then everybody said, well, he must be guilty. Well, the way the law works over there, if he took it to court to prove himself innocent, it costs him $2 million, or you give them $600,000 and tell them to, and that's what he did. But now everybody thinks he's guilty because he paid some people, and as soon as you pay somebody off, everybody else that thinks you say that he did that to you too, and we'll get 80,000 or 60,000. You know, so it's a slippery, dangerous mess. And I'm not saying he did or he didn't, because I don't know. I wasn't there. But it's just it's a slippery slope for innocent people, you know. And if they're guilty, I've got no sympathy. But for the innocents that get crushed along the way, and a lot of them have, damn shame.
Yeah, I know. I do. I think it's really sad. Like, obviously they've got to investigate and look into things and everything else and whatnot, and see what's going on. And but what always fascinates me as well, like at the end when if they come out innocent, clean, squeaky clean, not a thing found or anything else, they're never ever allowed to name the person that accused them.
No.
Like. They've ruined their career, but they're not allowed to. Well, he said all this about me, and look, I'm innocent.
Well, in fairness, Cliff did sue the BBC and he sued the police, and he won both cases.
Yeah.
So yes, he did. But you've got to remember, and again, I've got a lot of time for Cliff Richard, whether you like his music or whether you don't. Absolute respect to the guy for his longevity and the quality of his music to chart in something like 5 decades. That's a something that you've got to give credit for, but for, whether you like him or whether you don't is kind of by the by. If you look at how many front page negative stories that he had, and he was on the front page of every newspaper on and off for over a year, negative. Not Cliff is fighting back, none of that. It was. Loathsome Cliff attacked me. He did this. He assaulted me. It was all negative stories. It was all not true. And you can't put that right by saying, we found him innocent this week, so you'll get one story in the press saying Cliff's proven himself innocent. He's had one story saying he's innocent, and he's had 600 or 700 front pages saying that he's an evil, wicked da-di-da. And whether you like it or not, mud 6, which is why I'm so glad that he sued everybody, because he was right to do it, because look at the mess. And it made him move out of his house, made him sell his house, completely turned his life upside down. And then even the people that know him, remembering what happened with Rolf Harris and Savile and all the rest, they look back and they think, I've always known, I never thought. And he didn't do anything wrong. That's the thing, so that's what a society we have when you can put somebody through the ring. If they'd have investigated without naming him, innocent until proven guilty, and say, we're investigating another celebrity, and just left it at that, and then got to the bottom of it and found out that he was innocent, no harm would have been done to him. So why couldn't they do that? And it's because they just wanted the headlines. Some police officer tipped off the press to be there when he was going to be arrested. Otherwise, the press wouldn't have been there. Dirty tricks.
I remember the big helicopter zooming in on his mansion and all the police live on the telly. I remember it on the news when it happened.
And that would never have happened unless somebody in the police had tipped them off.
Yeah, it was terrible. It was. Anyway, I'll jump from that one to the next one.
Yeah.
Dentist waiting times. I know this is a big jump.
Right.
Dentist waiting times, you ring I mean, this has been in the news the last few days. You ring a dentist up, we can't see, you've got no places, 2 to 3 years, some people have been pulling their own teeth out. What have I pay? Well, you can come and see the dentist in a couple of hours.
Absolutely.
So if he's got no appointments, why can he see you in a couple of hours if he's got no appointments?
It's ka-ching. It's simply, I was told about 10 years ago now, a dentist that I'd always seen in National Health, like that's what we pay for. And I was told, if you want to keep seeing the dentist that you know and you've had for the last however many years, he's going totally private now. He's not doing any NHS patients. If you want to continue to see your dentist, you have to pay now. And that's what most dentists want, because that's how they make far more money than they get with the NHS. Because essentially they can charge roughly what they like. And as long as you're prepared to pay for whatever they charge you, then they will. And that's what they want. And
I think it's terrible, really, to be honest with you. Like a lot of people can't afford to go private. I mean, me for one, I can't afford to go private. I'm NHS.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, the odd time I've paid for maybe it's a white filling or something, at the back, and I've paid extra for it because it's white and at the back, or this, that, and the other. But
why should that be extra?
well, why should it? I couldn't afford to go fully private. And I think it's terrible to putting money before, like, I'm not bothered about your teeth falling out and losing all your teeth. If you don't pay me, I'm not interested, sort of thing. Which is
but you see,
basically what you're being told.
If you go back to them and you say, why are you doing it? They'll say, because I want to make a better living for my family. And you say, well, okay, but what about my teeth? And then they'll say, well, you can always go to the dental hospital where you can get somebody who's a student to have a look at your teeth. And you're thinking, I don't really want to... no disrespect to students who all have to learn, but I'd rather have somebody that knows what they're doing messing with my mouth. And I know that at the dental hospital and what have you, there's doctors keeping an eye, proper dentists keeping an eye on students.
Yeah. Well, what happened to you there with going, NHS and he went private? Exactly the same happened to me.
Mm-hmm.
I was able to stay with the same practice. I just had to use a different person who was an NHS dentist.
Gotcha.
And basically that's what happened to me. And it just, like, quite a few patients went with, like other dentists within the same practice, but just not with him. It was a bit of a shame, really, but because I like him as well.
But they rely on that.
But there you go. Yeah.
Yeah, they rely on it. Anything else, then, Rich?
Yeah. So just moving on.
Okay.
One very last one.
Okay.
I was looking down the internet the other day, and I was come across a forum where people were writing. It was something like one of these news channels had been saying something about, like the Queen, like she's coming up to, like, this big anniversary they might be doing next year, and that, and is it the 70 years platinum anniversary or something, and they started planning for it and whatnot. And there was a couple of people talking there, and one or two others, and they were saying about how much power the Queen has in this country. Does she really have still now a lot of power in this country, the Queen? Officially, if she wanted to use it.
If she wanted to, she could dissolve Parliament. If she really wanted to, she could push her nose in, but right from the very beginning, and I mean going back right to the very time she first became Queen, she said that she would never get in the way of her government. And she never has. And the government's always had and always done what they thought was right, elected by the people. And the Queen has simply stood by whoever happened to be the government at the time, whether she liked them or not. And you got the impression she wasn't keen on Tony Blair. However, but that's how it is. So at a push, yes, she could, but she won't. And would the people that follow, because some people say it's going to be Charles, I don't think it will. I think it's going to pass to William, and I don't know why I think that, but I just do.
I think that.
I just think the people would prefer it, and I think that's the way that she might try and wangle it. Don't know how, but no, she's got power if she chooses to use it. And let's face it, anybody that's got more than 6 zeros on the end of your bank balance can probably get away with, probably do a damn sight more than any one of us.
Yeah.
But she chooses not to use her executive powers, although she does have some.
Yeah. She could say, I'll give everybody like £1 million bonus off the government for free at Christmas. If she wanted to, she could. Everybody in the country.
I'm not sure where that's written down anywhere.
It's wishful thinking, actually.
I'm not sure that's likely, but I suppose who knows? Who knows?
Yeah.
Anyway, thank you.
Thank you. Right.
Goodbye.
Can you say goodbye to my Moldova friends?
Yeah, of course, absolutely.
Okay, Napti Puna, Natalia C. Sergio, my Moldova Priya-tenor. Thank you, Ellen, and I'll see you on the Ghost Hunt.
Yeah, look forward to it. Thank you. There's Rich in Stock News watching out for us, which is a good thing. Okay, 0191 488 3188. Might as well dive in quickly and get another star for you. Now, this is a man who appeared in a band called The Move, who were fabulous, with Roy Wood. And then when Roy started ELO... he wasn't there long. This man played drums for them too. His name's Bev Bevan, and I asked him a few questions about his career. Best bit and worst bit in the business, highlight and low light.
Yeah. A lot of highlights, I have to say. the highlights would include the move tour of '68 with Jimi Hendrix and and Amen Corner and the Nice and Pink Floyd. Certainly with ELO, the Out of the Blue tour, particularly the one in Los Angeles where Tony Curtis introduced us as the finest rock and roll band in the world.
Can you imagine?
And Black Sabbath headlining Reading Festival, 1983, was great. I haven't had too many lows, actually. Been very fortunate.
Yeah.
So,
do you find it difficult now when there isn't other than yesterday's projects like the new old album, if you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Do you not think you're just itching to get up there and take a band round again?
Well, I do still work. I don't tour like I used to, but you know, we do move shows. Myself and Trevor Burton. There's the Bev Bevan band which still tours around the Midlands, and occasionally we have been known to have guests. Jasper Carrot often turns up. Tony Iommi has worked with us. Robert Plant has sung with us. Paul Carrick has sung with us. So I'm still working with some great musicians.
Yeah, that's a lineup that takes a bit of beating. Bev, you have provided me with so much joy over the years, and so many people, whether they realise it or whether they do not.
Alan, it's been a pleasure. Thank you so much.
Loved that a bit. And he ended up, as soon as she got back with her lover, Natris, Fred died very soon after of a mysterious stomach ailment. And so did both of his sons. So all three of them. Natris now called himself Quick Manning. He became a lodger, and she was pregnant with her 13th child. Then Freddie Jr. died quickly, followed by Robert. And then the Trass was ill. So he changed his will in Mary's favour, and she took every single thing that he had. So, I mean, she's living in an insurance office, taking everything she possibly could. And it's in this neck of the woods where her downfall came. You got to remember, she's in Auckland, she's walking these streets, and down here is a walkway that is said to be how Mary, or the direction that Mary took when she used to walk into the middle of Auckland to get her arsenic, to get her tablets. She used to come down here in between the church and the bondsman's house, which was, let's face it,
Bakehouse Hill.
It's what called?
Bakehouse Hill.
Bakehouse Hill. And this is the avenue. She took a... Hey-ho! They say, problem is when we're live, you get a tendency to be recognized. Mary's downfall came when she got a job with a coroner. Imagine, you know, you're committing murders left, right, and center, and you get a job for a coroner called Thomas Riley. Thomas wanted her to look after an old lady, a rich old lady, and she was very happy to do that. And the old lady had serious stomach problems, as did anybody that mixed with Mary. And the son that they had together, Charlie Cotton, was a right little scumbag. He was rotten. He used to kill people's dogs and cats. He used to excrete on people's doorsteps. He was just a nasty boy. And the old woman that Mary Ann was looking after said, you need to put him in the workhouse, because you got to remember there was a workhouse just up from here that had been there since 1853. So what they said was, stick him in a workhouse, get shot of him. Then Mary said this to the old woman: don't worry about him. His health isn't great. I'm sure soon he's going to go the way of all the Cottons. Now, 5 days later, Charlie Cotton was dead. And Riley said, what I'm going to do is I'm going to go to the police, because she knew, and she decided to get rid of the embarrassment by killing her own son. So they went to the police. Now, all the while, what Mary was doing was she was trying to claim the insurance on all of these other people that she'd killed. But the coroner had to sign off, and he refused to sign, so she couldn't get her money. So there was an inquest, and everybody thought, dun, 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 I got to get her. And it was found that Charlie died of natural causes. In other words, they couldn't prove that anything bad had happened. Now, this is where the media, even the media of the day, has to take a bow and take a plaudit, because the press got the story. And they said, we should dig up her ex-husband. We should take a closer look. Maybe there is something to this. How can somebody have all these husbands that die? How can she have all these children that die? There's got to be something to it. They dug up Charlie. Might have to dig us up because there's stuff kicking off. There's kicking off in Orkney. And so anyway, they found arsenic in Fred Cotton. They found arsenic in Charlie, and she was on her way. She was arrested, and she said, oh, it's because we've got wallpaper in the house that's got arsenic in it. And back then you did have wallpaper with arsenic in it. However, it took the jury 90 minutes to find her guilty. Let's walk down this. But you got to remember, while we're here, we're walking in her footsteps. This is where Mary walked. She was held in a cell up there at the top of that road I've just showed you, Bishop Auckland Police Station, for a few weeks. Then she was taken to Durham Jail for hanging. And she died not by a neck breaking. She died of agonizing and unpleasant, slow strangulation.
This is Real Life Conversation with the voice of the North.
This is Night Owls with Alan Robson.
Call 0191 488 3188.
Greatest Hits Radio.
And do not forget, if you wish to win one of our Night Owl mugs, they're waiting there for you. And we're running out of them. We've only got a few left. If you would like one, I'm going to give you 4 clues. The first 2 clues are already revealed. Clue number 1, the Archies took 2. These are all links about hits, hit links. Second clue, a huge hit for Charles and Inez Fox. They only had one big hit. Or, if you don't want to go back that far with your music, feathered creatures who mimic other feathered creatures. Okay, 2 clues down, 2 more clues to come. See how you fare. Okay, next we have Elaine, who is in one of my favourite places, Glasgow. Hello, Elaine.
Hello, Alan. I've been on your chat and I've been talking to your fans there.
Well, I'm glad you have. Nice to hear from you. What are you doing up there?
I'm unemployed in that, but I used to ring you when I lived back home.
Where's home?
I lived in Pilo.
All right, huh?
But I rang, and this is dead funny, right? I rang you and I said about Alan Shearer being boring on the McDonald's advert years ago. And it was dead funny, right? Because Alan Shearer rang in and said he wasn't boring.
That's right, I remember. Well, it's just, you've got to be careful. You never know who's listening. That's the thing.
But I'm not a Newcastle fan anyway, but never mind. But I miss my home, and I think it's brilliant now that I can watch us on YouTube and I can watch ghost hunting and all that. I miss it all.
Good stuff. Well, thanks a lot. Spread the word up there in Glasgow for me, if
I
you will.
will, sweetheart.
Thank you kindly. Anything else while you're on, Elaine?
Sorry?
Anything else, darling?
About the alien thing?
Yeah, what do you think?
I watched that Skinwalker Ranch thing.
Right.
And I think there's something in that.
Why do you think they're keeping stuff from us then? Can't they just tell us the truth?
There's a lot of things going, isn't it? It's like they say the Egyptians and all that. But it's definitely, that Skinwalker Ranch is not far from Area 51.
Yeah, Roswell. Uh-huh.
So, but they're saying now there's a lot of magnetism and all that. But we might be the aliens put on this earth.
There you go. I absolutely believe it. Maybe we are. Maybe that's how we got here in the first place.
So, I still haven't. You need to give her another clue, Alan. I want one of their mugs.
Oh, well, I'll tell you, the next one might just do it. So fingers crossed. Thanks, Elaine.
Right, take care.
And you, bye-bye. Glasgow, Ouija. She's now an adopted Ouija. We have Andrew, who's with us in North Shields. Hi, Andrew.
Hi, Alan. How are you doing?
I'm very well, thank you kindly. What are you talking about tonight?
I've only just got Grizzly Tales from Northumbria.
Oh, thank you.
It was, my wife got me it. And it was printed long ago, I believe, wasn't it?
No, one or two of the stories featured in one of the earlier books, some of them, because it's an amalgamation of a lot of stuff.
In Sean's books.
Sean's books?
Yeah.
No.
All right.
No, my book.
Your book.
My book.
Actually, I'm collecting all your books. My wife just sent me Simply the Best.
Oh, blimey, you write the joke book,
Yeah. I haven't finished it yet.
Right, okay. Well, I hope you enjoy it anyway.
It's what you dip into.
Yeah, absolutely.
And it does be, all your books seem to be the voice of the North, as you call.
Like to think so. Right, okay.
I just want, I hope to get a bookmark because I'm doing a lot of reading.
Okay, well, we'll sort that out for you. That's not a problem.
Yeah. Okay. My radio is on the blink at the
Oh,
moment.
blimey.
It's a digital, it's a DAB radio.
Right.
But I didn't read the instructions.
Right.
And I pixelated it.
Right.
Also, the phone I'm phoning on doesn't have a ringing tone at the moment. I'm not sure how to fix it. Somehow I've stopped the ring. It stopped ringing.
Right. Is that just a lack of friends?
Yes, probably. Me mum did say I cannot make friends.
No, I'm sure that's not the case. Hey, but anyway, good talk to you, Andrew. Anything else while you're on?
I keep diaries.
Yeah.
Sometimes are stolen from me.
Right.
Other times I destroy them if they're not of any worth to me anymore.
So why do you keep them if you do that?
but I keep them for some time.
Okay.
And reread them.
Mm.
And I recently read of the death of your mother, Alan.
Right.
And it was a 4 month. It was 4 months after, or 4 months before something else happened.
Right.
On the news, or
Right.
my wife looked after her mother before she died. You know,
Mm-hmm.
she spent her youth looking after her mother.
Oh, blimey. Right.
And quite intimately, as you have to. And I really respected her for that. I loved her a lot.
Absolutely.
Do love her a lot. My wife, my ex-wife.
Right.
as well, that
Oh,
love.
it's ex-wife, right.
And we're still
Close.
great friends.
That's good. Good you can do that. Okay.
You said on radio one time that not too long ago that you seemed a bit paid off and you were saying, everything's good in the world when Alan's on. Right, so
No, what I said was that somebody said about the show, I got back into the Northeast and I heard you were on the radio, so all's right with the world. That was not what I said, but it was what somebody said to me, and I mentioned it. Yes.
yes, but you sounded a bit peeved by it.
Peeved? No, I'm proud of that. That's wonderful if people feel that way about it.
I was going to say that's the way I feel about it.
That's good. No, there's no peeve about that. That's I'll accept that any day of the week. But Andrew,
I hope to get my radio fixed sometimes so I can listen to you.
I hope you do.
At the moment, with it being pixelated, it sounded like diarrhea, you know.
Right. Well, I mean, people have said that before. But thanks for calling. There you go, Andrew from North Shields. And we think maybe we should have said you can watch it now, but anyway, I might be pixelated. 01914 88831, or worse, or browned off. 01914 888 3188. We got Anne from West Denton. Hello, Anne.
Hello,
Hello, love.
you just got off my face, but put it this way, Alan.
Uh-huh.
3 doctors say it's antibiotics and all my trouble in my face.
All right,
And I knew all along. And I'm not, people are getting this stuff, but my back's horrible. It starts and blood spots, but I've got the cream.
Oh, right,
And that's what causes, which I'm quite annoyed now at, what do you call that one, yeah.
So the thing, how do you manage to put the cream all over it? Because there's bits of my back I cannot reach.
I can manage all right.
Can you? Oh, you must be very bendy.
And that's what causes. And I'm in got lots of answers for it, but the doctors, not the doctor, my doctor, she's got to the hospital.
Oh.
There was 3 lots of antibiotics all together.
Right.
Mixed up.
Uh-huh.
But that's what's caused it. And I know all along, because, I know about these things.
Yeah.
And I've got another picture, Alan, on the side.
Have you?
No, do you know on the side what they call it? When to put your photo in.
Uh-huh, yes.
Well, as I say, my daughter goes to college as a teacher there.
Mm-hmm.
And she's put one on the internet, holding it on, but I put on lockdown, my daughter did.
Right.
I'm holding my light in the house.
Right.
And this other one, the woman says, I know what she's going to do. She's just putting it in the chronicle. I can't keep up all the salad, really. At my age.
You're getting more famous and people are saying more of you all the time. That's funny.
Aye.
Brilliant.
I've got the night else on all day, night.
Uh-huh.
I don't know what I was talking.
Right.
Because it gets us through the night, Alan, and I don't feel as much scratching. So I've got it on right all in the morning. I don't get much sleep because you wake up doing your cream,
I know what you mean.
So
right.
I haven't forgot about the Cash for Kids, mind.
No, you've always looked after the I'm aware of that. Thank you very much for all you've done over the years. You've been brilliant.
Because all our family, Alan does the mines, which had a bit of trouble, in many years ago. And I do the ambulance.
Right.
And my daughter goes in the town and gives this man, it's not Dougie, she puts the McGinnis hat, a lot.
Right.
Phone. And I do
Made
the
his
cook
day.
song.
I was going to say that would have made his day.
Oh, I was a sister. She goes in the town because she knows who she's dealing with. And I do the small one out of my direct debit, me cancer.
Right.
And I do the children eyesight, no, successfully. I've done that. But Alan says, well, you've always been kind. I says, well, you didn't say it. I says, well, I can't stop. It's all about it. I can't stop doing things like that to people.
It's the way you are, Anne. It's the way you've always been as well. It's very nice. Very nice.
I put me telly back on. I don't know that.
No worries.
Don't mind. Good night, then.
Good night, bye-bye. She can't put the telly back on now because she couldn't do it when she was talking. 01914 488 3188. Still haven't heard any of these wedding stories, and I know every wedding has some glitch, and sometimes they're outrageous and peculiar and horrific. And I'm sure there's some have happened to you, so give us a call. 01914 488 3188. Worries, fears, and those moments of blind terror. What is your tale? Now, we have Stephen with us, who is from the city of Durham. Hello, Stephen.
Hello, Alan.
Hello, mate.
So, I went for my second COVID jab today.
Oh, is it all right?
Yes, you don't even feel it.
Good.
Yeah.
That's good. Good to know. And you're not feeling numb and you can sleep on it all right and all those kind of things?
Yes, it's not too bad, yeah.
Good. That's good news. So you're done. Excellent. Okay.
And, call the midwife. It was the last one tonight, the present series, and then a documentary about it.
Right.
I spotted the mistake, They say it's 10 years old and over, yeah. And yet it started in 2012,
right.
That's not 10 years old, is it?
No, not at all. No.
11, so
right.
I can't understand that. And wedding stories.
Yeah, if you've got one.
Well, sometimes people listen to football matches at weddings. The the Walkman thing, yes?
Yes.
And just when it gets around to the time when you have objections or something, yes?
Right.
And they go, yeah! Yeah.
It's because a lot of weddings tend to be, used to, it's perhaps not so common now, but it always had to be a Saturday for a wedding back in the day. And Saturday, again, back then, was the time when, because football matches can be any day of the week now, pretty much, but there used to be Saturdays as normal. And anybody that was a supporter of their particular team would have a little wire hanging from their ear into a pocket where the radio was, just so they could hear the latest scores during the speeches, usually, in the afternoon. That's very, very true. Well spotted, Stephen.
That's right, yes. The woman was listening to Southampton years ago on the telly. My dad used to take weddings, and the day that Middlesbrough, beat Sunderland 2-1, you remember, in 1991, when Bernie Slaven scored after 17 seconds.
Right.
I was going to be Auntie Marjorie's, that day. His sister in Lanchester for the 60th,
right.
His birthday party. But it could have happened about me sitting on the back listening to it,
Yeah.
Joe Hill, and then just at the time when my dad says, has anybody got an objection? I was married. I went, yes! My dad looked at me and says, you have an objection? I says, no, Middlesbrough just scored.
That's funny. Because I remember watching, these outtake programs that's on the television, usually with Dennis Norden saying, oh, here's an interesting moment. There was an outtake from one of Auf Wiedersehen Pet episodes. And it was Kevin Whately in bed with his missus in the show. And they were filming it. And they had the radio on, and it was a Newcastle United football match.
That's right.
And it was an outtake. It had to be edited out of the show because during his time in bed with his wife, Newcastle scored, and he went completely off the script, going, "Oh, Newcastle just scored." So
yes.
it can happen at any time.
Yes, I remember that years ago when I was just a kid. Yes, he said, "Oh, yes, I can't forget." Oh, yeah, it's just about Newcastle. Yes,
That's right.
Just,
Yeah, there you go. Strange but true. Anything else then, Stephen?
and so, yes, I'm trying to think. Heart-stopping moments. I can't. Think about it. It happens to everybody, doesn't it? You know.
Has it happened to you?
Funny. It would have done, I suppose. Yes.
You just can't remember what. That doesn't matter. Don't worry about it. No problem. But lovely talking to you nonetheless. Thank you for coming on.
Yes, thanks.
Okay, man. Bye-bye. There's Stephen from Durham. He's had a heart-stopping moment. He just can't remember what it was. Obviously didn't stop that long. And I think we'll have a piece of music, and then we'll take the news, and then we'll go into the last lap of Night Owl. So if you want to talk to me about anything, now's a great time to call. 0191 488 3188. Alan Robson, Greatest Hits Radio Northeast. And we are the Night Owls. So the star we're talking to now, and this was interesting because we got a guy called John who said, you had just a little clip of Dolly Parton, and this was months and months and months ago, talking about an odd fan. I didn't catch the whole story, but it sounded really interesting. I've dug that out just to give it a replay for you. So this is Dolly Parton talking about her weird fan.
Because I have the weirdest fan story ever, and it concerns with Jolene. When I first wrote Jolene, I was living in Nashville. My husband and I had just built our new house, hadn't been out there very long,
right?
And so I came home from work one day, and there was a basket at my gate down the foot of the hill, and I was pulling in my gate, and I thought, oh, somebody's left some things here. I thought maybe, one of my sisters had left some food or something. Right. And I opened it up, and there was a baby in there, and there was a note. Seriously, listen to this. It had a note that said, "My name is Jolene, and I want you to have me. You can have me to raise." And I freaked out. What? I thought, oh, my God, somebody's left the baby here. So I thought, I didn't know whether to touch it, whether to pick it up. So I went flying. I went on into the house, and I got the lady that was running the house. I said, "Go down to the gate. Wait there. I'm going to call." So I called Human Services and Child Services, and so they came and they took care of it. But is that not freaky? I never did know. I didn't know what really happened, but somebody had just given me their baby and said his name was Jolene. So I don't know.
So have you ever written another song using somebody's name since, just in case?
Well, I was cautious about it.
Left George, little George, and Margaret Edith Quick Manning. Quick Manning is the name that Natras had taken to try and make himself sound a bit posher. And her ghost is said to walk right along. This is the place where her ghost is said to walk. Because from her cell, she said the town seemed lonely, lovely, and peaceful. And before she left, she said, "Oh, I'll be back. You'll be seeing me again." And it's those rhymes. Marianne, Marianne, Marianne Cotton. She's now dead and she's rotten, lying in bed with her eyes wide open. And there was another rhyme found in 2016 in a Victorian terraced house. They were taking the wallpaper off the wall. And the woman, this is Crook, and it was a house from 1854. And they found written under the old wallpaper, "Sing, sing, oh, what shall we sing? Marianne Cotton's all tied up with string. Where? She's up in the air, selling black puddings, a penny a pair." Mary Ann Cotton, she's dead and forgotten, lying in bed with her bones all rotten. Sing, sing, oh, what shall we sing? Mary Ann Cotton is tied up with string. And that is the story of Mary Ann Cotton. So I hope you've enjoyed our little walk. We have our friend at the Sportsman's Inn. I think we're a little bit early for that, but I think we should maybe... can you go and see if we can get in now? Yeah, you might not be ready. So we're just going to hang. As I say, Kenny, you can take these if you want. Yeah, absolutely. Just otherwise we're going to have to do the manual work. We don't want that done, do we? Thanks, man. So we got kicked out early, so we're hoofing it. But you can still share your socks off and get yourself one of our Night Owl badges. Share, share, share. Send it everywhere. We want it to go all over the world. If you know somebody abroad that might be interested in incredible stories from this part of the world, and remember, we'll be going much, much further afield first chance we get. Now, the Sportsman's, I can tell you a little bit of the story of the Sportsman's. It's a busy corner, and watch the, don't walk into a pub. The Sportsman's used to be called the Merry Monk, and the people here who live here in Bishop, they call it the Merry Monk. And there's the ghost of a monk. It's 600 years old as well. And are we all right to go? Let's do it then. So when we were looking for the scariest places, and again, we had a listener, a viewer, should I say, ask us, can you do Bishop Auckland? So we're actually doing that for them as much as anything. So let's get in. What's the gentleman called? Chris. Chris, it's Chris. Lovely.
I've got to say that's the best name ever, Fred Cotton.
Fred Cotton. Yeah. But you've got to remember it was a Robson. That's how it all started. Now we've asked him about masks. We've all had the injection again, and we've all had the test. Do we mask? Yeah. Stick it on. Better safe than sorry. Come on then. Right, we're live, and hang on, Tony. Can you need a? It's all right. I got it. So this is what happens when you do stuff live. You see, it's exciting.
Because no one else is doing it like this.
No,
That's why.
It's probably because you get kicked out of shops early, and this is a heart stopper, isn't it? When you're live, you gotta rock on. So welcome.
Thank you so much.
You're left. Sorry, ladies. There you go.
Thank you.
No worries. To the left. Oh, there he is. Hi, Chris. Bless you. I'm happy to do that. I'll sit in the window seat. Absolutely. Oh, you have to sit there. Okay. No problem. Sorry, I'm there. Right, Chris. This is the Sportsman's. There's your little microphone. Just keep hold of that. Happy days.
You must know, you know.
Well, can we? Or we can take it off at the
Legally,
till.
you can take it off at the till.
Well,
do you want a drink, you guys?
I'm good. We're good. Thanks. We're kind of old-fashioned and pro. You know what I mean? Are we allowed a handshake? Sure. Whatever. It's good to see you.
I'm allowed to drink, though.
Yeah, you are, absolutely. It's your house. Thanks for inviting us in. First of all, tell us a little bit about this place. When did you first take it on?
I've known the bar for a lot of years. When I physically took it over was 2016.
Right.
We were approached in early 2016, my wife and I, but didn't really particularly think that it was right at that time. But they came back to us a year later, and at the end of 2016, we took it over. So November 2016, we signed the lease, and we've been here since. We live upstairs. We've had time out of it. We've been to other properties, but predominantly we've lived above this bar.
Now,
600 years old, Alan.
I know. I mean, first of all, this part of town is amazing anyway, just for its history. But putting that to one side, you're a skeptic. You don't believe in ghosts, or you didn't believe in ghosts. Then you come here. What's changed your opinion?
Too much examples. Is that the right word?
Too many examples.
Too many examples. Too many examples. Too many situations. Too many things that were happening. I thought unexplainable, and I'm completely convinced. And there is footage that have been taken by respected detectives. Can I name them?
Yeah,
there are
of
a
course.
couple of girls
Yeah.
that are great psychic. They've got a book that's been published. It's currently on Amazon. I'm not trying to sell the book. By the way.
Hey, why not? It's great stuff.
Well, I'm not. But Elaine has done a great deal of work in reviewing it. And this one gave her the most exciting times. This is a 600-year-old bar. It is that end called, we affectionately call it the Keep. And there are so many stories. You ask the questions, I'll give you the answers.
Yeah. What's the most vivid thing you've seen?
In here, you're not going to bump into something. You're going to see something in peripheral vision, and I see that. Then you get that, I'm sure somebody was behind us. That's all the usual stuff. But the reality of the situation, I'll give you a couple of examples.
Go for it.
Behind you, you'll see how my bar staff stack bar mats at the end of the shift.
Right.
That's how these guys stack bar mats. When we finish, that's what they do it. Time and time again, I get up and they're on the floor. Now, this has children on it as well. It was an orphanage,
right,
in distant past. And Elena said to me 2 or 3 times, "The kids are here. They'll play games on you." And the most
of the lifting of more restrictions. Well, meanwhile, an advisor to the government's asking people to be cautious when it comes to socialising this bank holiday Monday. Experts are concerned about the spread of the Indian variant of the virus and whether it will sabotage plans to ease lockdown. Susan Mickey from the government's SAGE group says the next 2 weeks are crucial.
Be cautious over this next week to 2 weeks, because that is going to be the time period when we know whether or not we are going to be in a position to even keep the current levels of restrictions or even go further and lift some of them.
A 39-year-old woman and her unborn child have died after being hit by a car in Northampton. A man who's 31 has been arrested. Hundreds of vehicles have led a convoy through Lancashire in memory of a toddler who was killed in a gas explosion. 2-year-old George Hines from Heysham died because of it earlier this month. Now, there are fears thousands of private renters in England could be about to find themselves on the streets as one of the government's COVID measures ends today.
We're really worried that with the eviction ban ending, more landlords will be asking the courts to enforce the eviction notices that they've issued, and people will lose their homes, and many of them may well end up homeless.
Katie Martins from Citizens Advice, who reckon 1 in 10 private renters are behind on payments, but the government says financial help is still available and the time is right to lift emergency measures. And Northern Ireland have begun their preparations for the World Cup qualifiers with a victory. They got a 3-0 win over Malta in a friendly. From Sky News, I'm Fraser Knight.
Thanks, Fraser. Time for the third clue. Now remember, you will win yourself a Night Owls mug if you fancy. Also raising money for Cash for Kids. If you would like one of these mugs, all you have to do is work out what links 4 clues together. Hit links on Great Estate Radio. Clue number 1, the Archies took 2. Second clue, a huge hit for Charles and Inez Fox, or feathered creatures who mimic other feathered creatures. Okay, feathered creatures who also mimic other feathered creatures. Third clue, a place above a village in Batheaston that Peter Gabriel made famous. Okay, a place above the village of Batheaston in Somerset that Peter Gabriel made famous. 3 clues down, 1 more clue to come. What links all 4 answers together? That's what you've got to work out. What links them all together? Do not call in till you get the 4th clue. Now, before we dive in, we started the show really strong. We had a lot of calls, very quick, fast calls. We could do with a few more, about heart-stopping moments. And I want to play you one, because I know this lady's in the queue somewhere. Hope we get to her in time. And it is Jean from Reckinton, who we brought to the studio, and unbeknown to her, she was going to face her fear which was meeting, well, is a 14-foot white python. Are you looking forward to a present? Nice little
Well, it
something.
depends on what it is.
It's somebody to meet you. I've got two friends called Lewis and Rachel. Bring them in. They've got Nietzsche and Midget with them as well. There you go, Jean. Just here.
Oh, get away!
It's a snake. It's the biggest. It's the biggest snake in the. You're not having. You just stay there. You don't have to go anywhere near it. She got the hell out of that. Now, snakes. That may well be a heart-stopping moment. Imagine where mice could end up.
I had just come out of the shower and I was getting ready to go to work.
Right.
Well, I had a washing basket in my bedroom and I had my tights, black tights on the wash basket so I could just put them on.
Yes.
And when I picked my tights up, I thought, they were heavy.
What had you left in those tights, Janet?
The cat had brought a little baby mouse in from outside and it went straight up my tights.
Oh, no,
Alan,
no.
I got such a fright, I went white.
Also, the dog thing, it is a fact that although a lot of people absolutely love their animals, not everyone does.
Basically, it was my neighbour's dog, which he knew the dog. They'd only had the dog 4 weeks, so she'd get him from a rescue home.
Right.
And the children had actually played with the dog, took the dog out for walks and everything, and he was just coming home, and we're stroking the dog, and then all of a sudden it started growling, so I actually moved my little boy out of the way,
Right.
and then all of a sudden the dog actually just turned and leaped on his face.
And actually
So my
bit his face.
Bit his face, and because I was there, my reaction was like mother's instinct is to I just grabbed the dog and flung the dog off him.
Right.
But of course, because of that split second, his face was in a right state. It was absolutely right state.
His eyes are okay.
It just below his eye, it got but his eyes are fine.
Did he need stitches? I'm sure he needed hospital treatment, probably.
Yeah, he got transferred to the RVI. He's actually lost a nerve in the side of his face.
How old is he?
He's on 8.
8-year-old staffy attack. Now, something else. I heard from a lady who was terrified to go into pubs because she'd been so badly groped. Somebody'd gone up to her and just touched her right in the front, if you know what I mean. And she refused to go back to pubs. And it seems there are a few of these creatures about. You've grabbed nearly every man on North Tyneside. So what are you going to do now? Move to South Tyneside?
Well, I'm 40 odd, you know, and the staying here 40s are a bit of a cougar, so I'll spread around the country, I think.
Plenty of men rubbing their hands with glee, you'd have thought.
Well, I'll let you know what happens, Alan.
You're not found one to settle down with, Leah?
Oh, no, too young.
Right. So what time are you going to settle down? When you get in your 50s or your 60s or what?
70s.
70s, okay. Yeah, that's a time. And even if you want to fight, you're probably too tired.
I would be, yes.
And also, fire is something to be genuinely terrified of. You've already heard a couple of stories tonight. You'll like this one.
I thought that was the best way of dealing with it.
That's just fantastic. That's absolutely real life right there. She falls asleep with a cigarette in her mouth, sets the bed sheets on fire, so says, "I'll push it on me husband." Woof! Up it goes. Hey, but that's people had died doing that.
Well, he woke up just as it was lighting. And he rushed into the bathroom and flung it in the bath.
I would imagine
and calling me all these names.
I would imagine, though, that split second when he was like half asleep and just realising he'll woke up and he gone, "Ah!" And he'd be batting everything with his hand, was he? I love it.
Oh, it was so funny, but he didn't think it was funny.
No.
I wasn't allowed to smoke upstairs anymore.
Absolute gem. 0191 488 3188. Let's head across to James, who happens to be in the Wirral. Hi, James.
Hello there, how are you?
I'm very well. Good to hear from you again. What are you talking about tonight then, James?
Yeah, I mentioned about, like you said, about things that frighten you.
Right.
Dreams do as well.
Right. I mean, what sort of dreams have you had that have caused you concern?
When I was 2.5, I had been given a nursery rhyme record. I used to play it quite a lot. And there was one track, the Old Mother Hubbard, was in the minor key. Anything that's in the minor key, I don't like. Minor because it doesn't sound very good because it's sad and all the rest of it. Anyway,
right.
At that time, I had another book which had pictures of various things in it, like a hat or a glove or whatever. And on this occasion, this book that I had, I don't know, I can't remember where I got it from now, but it had this big green Mexican type hat.
Right.
With the word hat on the other side. Anyway.
Right.
There was one night, because I was on various pills because I wasn't behaving very well at the time.
Right.
Problem was that it used to give me strange dreams. And so this particular night, around about 11, my mum and dad put me to bed, and I had a blue light on the other side of the room on, and my friends from Australia were over downstairs, and all of a sudden, in this dream, I heard the Old Mother Hubbard track that was on this record, and which is and then this hat. When it got to, she went to the hatters to buy him a hat. This hat that was in this book flashed on the ceiling, and I woke up. I was frightened, and I was lying on my back, so it looked as if it flashed on the ceiling. And I just woke up and screamed and cried and had to rush downstairs. It was horrible. That's what happens if you're on strange
drugs,
medication when you're young.
Yeah, sure.
So that was one item. The other one I was going to talk about was over this in the summer. Yeah, we're going to have restrictions probably coming off on the 21st of June.
Hopefully, right.
Personally, I think we're going too fast at the moment because of this. I mean, there's another Vietnamese version of the disease, not in this country, but there is a new variant around in Vietnam at the moment, which is a combination of the Indian variant and the Kent variant. So I hope that doesn't get over here, because if it does, we might be in trouble.
Or are we not overthinking this whole thing? Because a lot of people, first of all, think we shouldn't have dealt with, by locking down anyway. They think we should have just cracked straight through. Because let's face it, huge swathes of the public died anyway. And maybe less would have died if we hadn't dealt with it and waited so long and dealt with it the way that we did.
It was done. The problem is that what's happened now is that so many people have been left behind by other things. Yeah, they probably did handle it wrongly. It was done wrongly at the time. If we thought about it, they'd have probably done it differently.
Sure. No, but the thing is, if we say, well, let's lock down just in case, then you're going to have to lock down just in case this one next year and the year after and the year after.
And really doing that. I mean, going forward, I would have thought. I mean, I just had my second vaccine, not last Monday, the week before, 2 weeks ago now. But I think they are going to have to vaccinate everybody, including children. Yes, I do agree with people having to have a vaccine if they're looking after vulnerable people, of course. I mean, I looked after my mum and dad since I left school until they died, basically.
Right.
And I think it's important. People complaining that they're not, because you have to. If you want to be a surgeon, you have to have a TB jab.
Hepatitis.
Hepatitis B jab.
Yes.
You have to have that. It's compulsory. So why not? I don't see what the fuss is about. Yes, I'm in favour of that. Because otherwise, how morally can somebody who has to look after somebody, they have to be healthy.
Right. No, I hear that, but just think for a second about the potential implications of that. Let's say that you're a carer at a care home.
Yeah.
You're dealing with people every day, and they're people of an age that would be that COVID would be a risk for.
Yeah.
I see the sense in that. I see the sense in them also getting a flu jab, because flu, if it was passed on to the same people, would cause them difficulties.
Absolutely. I've got no problem with it.
But hang on, do you get jabbed for everything then? Because they could. Let's face it. I mean, they're fragile. They're vulnerable people. They could well catch any number of things. So do you have to inject the carers 10, 15, 20, 30 times a year?
Oh, no, not that many times.
Well, why? Because there's got to be at least that many potential jabs to avoid viruses and what have you.
People get the first jab you get, I think, of the MMR and stuff like that. Now, I think going forward, and I'm not medically trained or anything like that, but I think going forward, the way they're going to have to do this is to vaccinate everybody, including children. And then when that's done, eventually they're going to have to start doing it when they get your MMR jab and things like that. They're going to have to give you a vaccine for COVID-19 around about that time.
But what you're saying is that you're not going to give them a choice in any shape or form, and do they not deserve a choice?
Yes, they do, but then you could argue that why do you give the MMR jab to babies when they don't have a choice?
Right.
Parents
you could argue that, certainly. Right.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, I hear you.
But I think in some respects, you see, they don't understand at that point, but they're still given the MMR jab. You know?
Right. No, that's true.
So it has to be done somehow. They're going to have to sort it somehow. But at the same time, though, I was on another station. Gordon Brown was on this morning saying, and I agree with him on this, saying that around the rest of the world, you've got most of the rest of the world who haven't actually been vaccinated. And the UK, we're miles ahead of anybody else, apart from Israel and America. We're ahead of America. But the problem with that was doing that. If we vaccinate ourselves and nobody else gets done around the world, we're still in trouble because it will come back to haunt us. And to be honest, I was so very, very, very cross last week when Malawi, they actually burnt 19,000 vaccines because they were out of date, only by a few weeks. But they were out of date, apparently. But they were told it was safe to use, but they burnt them. And I thought, well, how wasteful, when that could have been distributed earlier when they were in date to other people. And that's nearly 20,000 people now who haven't had a jab because of that. And that was a COVAX one.
Right.
So I don't know. I think we've yes, it's good that we've got a vaccine so quickly, but I don't think. I honestly think that we are. It can be used politically. You see, if you're so far ahead on the vaccine, you might think, well, we can use that as an advantage against the rest of the world. But basically, that's what we've done, and it's a disaster for the rest of the world. We haven't vaccinated enough we haven't distributed enough of our vaccines around the world. And when we do get them, and when other countries do get them, why are they leaving them so long to burn them? We couldn't get them distributed in time. There's no excuse for that.
No, I hear all of that. It's just with you saying that you think that we might be moving too quickly.
Yeah.
We've never stopped the planet for 16 months over anything else other than a world war.
Yeah, that's right. But the interesting thing is with the...
so does this mean we have to stop it every time there's something new that happens?
Oh, absolutely. No, I don't agree with that. We will at some point get back to normal. It won't be long now, I don't think.
Right.
But certainly by next year, we'll be all right.
Do you think?
I don't honestly think the Olympics will happen because Tokyo is back in lockdown again up until the 20th of June, and they've got it even worse. Only 2% of their population has been vaccinated. Compare that to 74% for us. It's ridiculous.
I bet you the Olympics go ahead, and
they probably will this time.
I think they will, and I think it'll be all down to money, essentially.
Yes, but without the spectators, there won't be any spectators there. I wouldn't have thought.
I don't know. I think there'll be a few in there. I really do, because I just think that everybody's itching now to get closer to normal, and they're kind of putting pressure on the Japanese to open up in the same way that other countries are opening up, rightly or wrongly.
They only had 16% of the world's, the environmental, the greenhouse gases. Only 16% reduction was achieved when we went into lockdown last year.
Yeah.
16% was achieved of reducing greenhouse gases. We've got to do something about that as well.
Right.
Today, for example, it was lovely weather today. I don't know what it was like over your side of the country, but I managed to go in open water swim at lunchtime.
Oh, that's great. Good on you. Excellent.
Great. Absolutely brilliant.
Now, happy days. Well, let's get back to normal as soon as we can. But, James, thank you for all of that. Good stuff as always. Thanks for calling.
Thank you. Stay safe.
You too. Bye-bye. How about that? Do you agree? Do you disagree? Where do you stand on all of that? This is just coming from Omar. Long time, but not kind. And Omar's a great guy too. He says, "Hi Alan, been a very long time since I emailed, and lockdown really hasn't been kind. My granddaughter was born last August, healthy and happy. My youngest stepdaughter is expecting again in the next few weeks. I got myself streaming on Twitch in an effort to keep in touch with friends old and new, and have begun to build a group from all over the world, looking out for each other's mental health and supporting as best we can. But in February, I lost my father to COVID. I've been taking insane precautions up here, so far as wearing an old army gas mask in high-risk locations like supermarkets, but sadly he wasn't so careful. Untreated asthma led to a severe lung infection, and sadly he deteriorated quickly. I've always had an acceptance of death, and I still wonder when all the grief will hit me. But so far, I'm back and forth to London trying to take care of my grandparents, both in their 90s, who relied on him as their carer, battling with the money-grabbing family. The only good news in all of it, I have his tools. He was a master goldsmith for over 50 years, and although I didn't follow in his footsteps, I did learn much of his trade, enough to continue to work. I heard earlier this evening, and I'm very sorry that you lost your mum. I've lost both my parents now. And it was not recent, so don't feel that. I've no idea why I'm feeling all that now in so many ways. I've been keeping up with the ghost hunts, even if I'm often not in the best mood to listen and watch. I hope you and all the team are staying safe, getting vaccinated and staying in a good place, taking each day at a time and trying to help others where I can. That's the old way, isn't it? There's Omar from Hebburn, and it'll come to you, Omar, you don't think, and when you least expect it, that's when it will hit you. But thank you very much for being with us. And I think lockdown has been bittersweet for pretty much everybody. 0191 488 3188. Oh, hang on a second. Here's the snake's friend. It's Jean! Hello, Jean! Hello, how are you? Do you remember that day?
Yeah, I do.
It was a bit, was that the longest one you've ever seen?
Snake, yeah.
Right.
I'm on the telly, that's all right.
Did you not want to hold it?
No, I wouldn't.
Why not?
No, yeah, made a business. It could have been me, that.
It could have eaten you, that one.
I know, because that's nice. Thanks very much. That's a joke. It killed it. I know that lizard. It would kill that lizard, wouldn't it? No, the lizard. I'm not. The lizard.
I would have, yes, there was a lizard there as well. But mind you, if the snake had eaten you, we'd have known where the lump was.
Yeah, no, the curry is nice, sweet, nice and bird.
Yeah, well, we would have saved you. No worries.
I would have crushed you then. I can crush you.
So, what's been your heart-stopping moment then, Jean? Have you got one?
What was it? No, when I had that accident last year.
Oh, yeah.
Bloody hell, I still got the shoulder. My shoulder still hurts.
Right.
My shoulder still hurts.
Yeah.
I get dizzy spell about them. I've got dizzy spells. It's called, what's it called again? Vertigo.
Vertigo, that's fear of heights and stuff.
Oh, no, vertigo, dizziness.
Makes you wobbly, like in an ear thing, is it?
Yes,
Right, yeah.
I'm going to do something about it.
James Stewart had that in an Alfred Hitchcock film.
I know.
Yeah, there you go.
Well, if I just to scale up, this woman is right, because she killed her. But that was the one.
That's the one, the very one there.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Tell you these things. So what have you been up to? Anything good?
I'm going out tomorrow.
Oh, where you going?
I'm at Lillian's. I'm going to take it out Lillian's. I'm going to take it out.
Right.
Uh-huh.
So you can get out and about a bit more
A
now.
little bit,
Yeah, that's good.
That's what I'm doing.
Right, you have
I've
absolutely.
Got some Broccoli and Brooklyn.
Right.
Brooklyn, as I call it.
Uh-huh. So you're on medication then for your dodgy shoulder?
Yeah. No, I've got nothing to put on.
No.
I don't know what to put on. Got some ibuprofen.
Well, that's not good. No, not if you're gonna, not if we're going to get you tossing the caber again.
Just tossing the caber. Big daft, man.
I'm sure you've tossed before.
I haven't.
I bet you have.
Salad. Toss salad.
Okay.
Toss salad. Hey, dear mate. Haven't heard from Linda.
No.
No, I've been ringing her.
Well, she's actually on next, so she's in the room next door, so she'll be there. She'll be with us soon.
No, last week the little thing come out. The thing come out of the.
What's come out?
The little baby, it came out. The little thing comes at the back. It comes out.
A little thing comes out the back. That sounds disgusting.
Oh man!
Well, you hope you clean it up, Jean.
Will you shut up?
I'm just saying.
Shut up! I sent the phone at the back the way I
A
came
phone
out.
came out the back.
Yes.
Did you swallow it?
No! That's why I came out the back of the...
Oh, and when you pulled it, there was a phone on the end of it.
Shut up! Shut up!
Oh.
Shut up, stupid!
Oh,
No,
it's-
shut up!
sounds-
Don't be silly!
sounds a
Will
bit
you
s-
pack it in?
bit painful.
Pack it in!
Okay.
It didn't, man. It's
I've
silly.
I've shut up now.
Will you shut?
Okay.
Will you when your neck in? You're not the same, will you? Because you're still the same cheeky monkey.
I'm not a cheeky monkey.
No.
How dare you?
You are. That was aggravating.
Well, you just said it was coming out the back. That was the
I'm talking
thing.
about the wire out the phone.
Yeah, well, if it was coming out your back, I'm not surprised there was a wire hanging out of it.
Me stupid, man. I couldn't. I lost. That's all right now.
Uh-huh.
Fuck it. I'll be silly, man. I was Jennifer anyway.
Jennifer's fine, thank you very much.
I'm trying to get back. He can't get back on the White House. He's an idiot, him.
Right, okay. Well, time will tell. But let's get Linda on. Thank you for coming on then, Jean.
Okay,
Bye. There you go. Anne is having trouble. What's it problems? Oh, dear. She wants me to make it a tad easier. She says, for the last couple of weeks, I haven't been able to get the what's-its. I like a hard one, but these are too hard for me. No pun intended. Well, you might get it with the last clue. You never know. Keep thinking, Anne. The Archies took 2. Huge hit for Charles and Inez Fox. A Place Above a Village in Bath Easton, Peter Gabriel made famous. And you got one more clue to come. Now, we have Linda from Barrisford. Hello, Linda.
Oh, good morning, Anne.
Hello. Well, blimey, right on cue. There's Jean setting it up for you.
Oh, dear.
So how are you? Are you all right?
I'm all right. I'm off to a place called East Chinook.
You're in a what?
I'm off to a place called East Chinook.
East Kinnick.
Chinook.
Chillick.
Chinook.
Pillick.
Oh,
Chillick.
near Yeovil.
Chillick.
Near Yeovil.
Chillick. Chiswick. Chiswick.
No,
No.
Chinook.
Chillick.
No. Chin-knock.
Chinnock.
Mm.
Like chinny chin chinnick. Chinny chin's going to chinny chin chinnick. Okay. Where in where is it?
It's near Yeovil.
It's near Yeovil.
Mm.
And you know, for 90% of people listening, we're all going, all right, and we've got no idea where that is. But have a lovely time anyway. It's Somerset.
Well, the cider
Yeah, I know. I be a cider drinker. Well, have a lovely time. What are you doing down there?
Taking my father's ashes.
All right. Okay.
Well, said he wants to be buried with his mum and his dad.
Right. Oh, that's sweet.
Yeah.
That is sweet.
So I'm travelling. I hope to God I'll be all right. I'm travelling. It takes about 7 hours to get there, I think.
Are you driving?
Yeah.
Just make sure and promise me you do this, because I do a lot of these kind of 5, 6, 7 hour runs these days. And the thing that you've got to do is make sure you've had a little something to eat before you set off.
Yeah.
And also, halfway in, literally after 3 hours, stop, have something to eat, have half an hour or an hour to get a bite to eat, get a bit of fresh air, and then go back. And it'll, and I know, well, that'll make it take longer. Yes, it does. But it doesn't feel that bad.
Right.
That's the way that I would handle it anyway, Linda.
Well, I'm gonna drive down as far as. I will be taking a break, but I'll be driving far down as a place called Fleet.
Oh, yes, I know Fleet. Right.
Yeah, Aldershot.
Yes,
And I've got the lady used to babysit my twin sister and me when we were little. So we're stopping overnight there.
Oh, that's nice. Good.
And then it's another 2 hours journey then.
That's fine. So for the 5 hours you're driving down to Fleet, stop in the middle.
Yeah.
Have a sandwich, have a drink, just stretch your legs, then dive back in again. It's just little tricks of the trade, but it makes all the difference, because if you just plod on,
it's no good.
Sometimes you can get a bit hypnotised by the white lines.
It's that second sort of, what do you call it now, like, where you might fall asleep and you can hear everything. You've got your eyes open.
Yeah. Well, you go to automatic pilot almost, and you can't do that behind the wheel of a car. That's the thing. So just take it nice and steady. You'll be fine.
Thank you, Alan.
A road's a road. That's how it works.
Yeah.
For sure.
Well, and you were talking about about shocking things.
Yeah, things that make your heart pump about 20 times faster than they should.
Well, I was about 14 years old, and I come downstairs, and I thought, oh, I'll make myself a cup of tea.
Right.
Now, the kettle was leaking. It was a metal kettle.
Right. And it was leaking.
And it was leaking a bit, yeah. So it was in a tray. And I went to go and fill up the kettle, and I noticed there was water in the tray. And I put it back. And I didn't notice that the flex was in the tray, and I picked up the flex, and it went...
Oh, blimey.
Oh, my gosh.
Yeah.
And I thought, do you know, that's so bloody dangerous.
Absolutely. Could have killed you.
It could have done, yeah.
Could have killed you.
But the good Lord just want to take me then.
Yeah, well, I remember my dad bought me an old black and white telly back in the days when people had them.
Yeah.
And it didn't have any back on, but my dad says, just don't touch it. And you had to walk around the room and find a place to put an aerial where you'd get a picture. It was a nightmare. And I remember once it wasn't working, so I put my hand in the back, and there was just a flash. And I woke up on the opposite side of the room.
I'm not surprised.
Having broken the door of the wardrobe. I just poof. And then my dad came up and told me off for breaking the door. And I says, you got no idea how I broke this door. I've just flown across the room because of the telly you bought me. But, so you got to be careful with electricity. It's
yeah, definitely.
Tricky
well,
thing.
my son flew across the room as well with the electric shock.
Yeah. It's surprising what can actually do that.
He had a murmur on his heart before that.
Oh, blimey.
And it put his heart back to normal again.
Did it really?
Yeah.
Wow. That was funny. I remember that there was somebody put a nail through it. It was a listener rang in, and they said, there's a humming in my bedroom, and I don't know what it is. And they picked the phone from their ear, and you heard this noise, and it was like like some kind of demented...
I know what it was.
What was it?
It was the wind.
No, it actually wasn't. When they hung the picture up on the wall, they'd put the nail through a live electric cable. And the electricity was coming out the wall onto the metal frame. And if he'd have touched the metal frame, he'd have flown across his room as well.
God,
so that's what it was. And an electrician rang in and said, have you been putting any pictures up lately? And because he'd come across it too. So there you go. So if you hear a strange noise and you've just hung a picture up, I don't know how he didn't feel it when he hammered the nail in first, though. That's the only... Or when he hung the picture on, you know what I mean? He's had a couple of narrow escapes before he started, but...
Who was this?
Got to be careful, that's the...
Who was this that had a couple of narrow escapes?
The guy who who put the nail through the electric cable.
Oh, right.
Right. Anything else then, Linda?
Well, that'll be it. What was it? I hope you have a lovely evening.
I will indeed. Thank you very much for calling.
Jennifer and love the Jean as well.
I will make sure they're all waving. Thank you, Linda. Bye-bye. And I tell you what, whilst we were putting the show together, we've actually had two people asking for a particular band, and I'm happy to be able to oblige.